Opening Drive on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
Guess what day it is? Huh? Hump Day?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. We're at 7 o'clock. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. And we're just going to be average today because that's what our baseball team wants us to be.
Oh, Randy, come on. It's Wednesday. It's hump day.
It is hump day. It's Ask Uncle Randy Day.
That open was below average.
Okay. 60 and 60. 60 and 60 is what your Redbirds are. One rule of thumb that we will start in this show today, if you don't mind, if Uncle Randy makes a unilateral decision here, we don't talk playoffs when we're 60 and 60, when we're 500.
No.
We don't. We wait until we're above 500 to talk about the postseason. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that this year.
You always say it, 60, 60.
Going to win 60.
And then what you do with the rest of the 40-plus games that you have in the season. So that's where they're at right now. Schedule's going to get even tougher after tonight. And then you look at what they have coming up with the Dodgers this weekend. You got San Diego still to go. It's a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but this is where you're at.
And guys, I think the natural reaction, because we are a reactionary society, especially as sports fans, we say, oh, they suck. They're terrible. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe a fan didn't realize, too, by the way. We didn't mention it, I don't think. They lost last night.
Oh, yeah.
Based off the way that we're talking about this, yep, I would say so.
Yeah. Relative to really good teams, yes, you can say they suck. We don't know average in St. Louis. Most people don't understand what average is in St. Louis because the Cardinals spent such a long time being well above average. Last year was their first losing season since 2007. My daughter was born in 1997, really didn't remember losing baseball. So Patrick's the same way. Patrick was born in 1994. The franchise was bought by the DeWitt family in 1996, and then you had the McGuire years where they didn't win. But from 2000 on, there's been a lot of success. Here's the thing with this team. It's not good either. It's not terrible. It's not good. It's just meh. It's just average, and that's the worst thing you can be, is just to be meh.
In between.
Yeah.
And that's where they're at right now.
Completely mediocre. And Dan, you're right. Things do not get easier here. And that's why it was so important going into, especially when you have the Dodgers coming into town, that you would be able to build up some momentum. But they've been outscored by the Reds in this series 10-2. We have seen the offense just absolutely not even sputter, but really not show up in these games. The fact that you were held to one run in back-to-back games is just inexcusable. We can talk about the pitching, all that we want with the starting rotation, the bullpen, all that. It comes down to this team's inability to be able to provide anything offensively. And especially after this game, they will have to face a gauntlet of teams, as we know. I mean, you're going to have to really find a way to string together some wins if you want to do something, and it's hard to really see that happening because they won't play another team with a losing record until September 10th. And you're 500 right now. It's hard to see a lot of positives there.
And the Cardinals are only, by the way, if you look up at the standings today, they're only a game in front of Cincinnati. That's it. They're only a game in front of them. They're a game and a half in front of the Chicago Cubs. And now in the wild card, they're 3.5 out. So you got to get it going today, and it's got to start tonight. I thought Hunter Green, on the flip side, if you wake up and you're a Reds fan, you're saying this guy's finally come of age. He was awesome last night. And Rocc brought up a great point. We're talking off the air. But then what are you doing against some of the relievers? And they haven't generated offense late in games in the first two games of this series. I mean, Jacob Junis in game one. 2+ innings and just shutting them down. I think he had 4 strikeouts, something like that. And it's the manner in which they're playing the games, too. If these were exciting games and the team was losing, you'd say, okay, I can handle that. There's some excitement here. I want to go to the ballpark, and Arenado and Goldie are hitting it all over the place. And, you know, you got Helsley at the back end who's exciting to watch. And, you know, Jordan Walker is up now, so there's a reason to go to the ballpark maybe to watch him or Mason Wynn. But right now it's just, like you said, Randy, I think it's just blah.
They're 13-42 when they score 3 or fewer runs. That's way too many games to score 3 or fewer runs. And the weird thing is, I don't think that, and maybe I'm just blindly optimistic, but I look at the group of guys, and I think there is offensive talent. I don't believe that Arenado and Goldie have fallen off the cliff to this level. I think Brendan Donovan can hit. I think Burleson can hit. I think that Scott and Walker they have shown flashes where eye test. Numbers not there, but eye test where you say, okay, these guys should be able to hit. Wilson Contreras can hit.
Mason Wynn.
Yeah, and Mason Wynn's numbers are there. That's why I didn't include him in it. But it seems to me this offense should be better than it is.
It should. I mean, in theory, on paper, the talent's there, but you are what your record shows.
Yep.
And right now, this is a 500 team. It's very mediocre. I think that a quote that always has stuck with me, and it's true. I'm not trying to use this against Bill DeWitt Jr., but this is very true when you guys talk about the history of this organization and the success that they've had. Remember back when they fired Matheny, he said, in some places, a winning record or even 500 is even acceptable, not with this city, not with this franchise, not with this history, and not with these fans.
And it shouldn't be acceptable now. And here's another part of this. In addition to what he said there, which that should be held up, right, as something that is unacceptable at this point. But when they promoted Mozeliak and Michael Gersh, one of the things he said is that I ask my team every day, what is our competitive advantage? What keeps us ahead? What keeps us cutting edge? When you look at the organization, now we don't know what's going on inside the building. But does it look like the Cardinals are cutting edge and ahead of anybody else in the way they're approaching anything?
Not right now.
No.
Not right now. And I think the thing that stands out like sore thumb is that we've heard a lot about these young players and will they ascend to the next level. And you just don't want to see these guys hit a certain level and just stop. And I'm not saying that we've seen that yet because Burleson has limited time in the big leagues, and obviously Donovan does. Certainly Mason Wynn. Jordan Walker has been up and down. So I think the upside is still there. We're just not quite seeing it come to fruition. And go back to the original part of this, and Brookie brought up the question the other day, what's the identity of this club? Going into the season, for me, maybe not for everybody else, but for me, the identity was your corners. It was Arenado and Goldie. And then I thought Jordan Walker, Brendan Donovan, certainly Nolan Gorman would be taking the next step. And then having Contreras with a year under his belt and saying, okay, he's more comfortable with the pitching staff. He's more comfortable with everything, his surroundings. I just thought a lot of guys would take another step. And to what you're asking, Randy, to a little bit of the point is it regression or is this who they are? And if this is who they are, then they're a mediocre team.
Here's the thing that concerns me about this when we have this conversation about
hopefully I made a little sense there.
You did.
Yeah.
But when we talk about players getting better, Dylan Carlson with the Cardinals, 198 batting average, with the Rays 241. With the Cardinals, 275 on base, with the Rays 353 on base. With the Cardinals, 240 slug, with the Rays 483 slug. With the Cardinals, 515 OPS, with the Rays 836 OPS. It happens again and again and again. I know that's a small sample size, but it happens again and again and again with Cardinal hitters that move on to other places.
We see it over and over again, and that's a trend. And if it's a couple of times, you could say, okay, maybe it's just an outlier here. But that's an ongoing trend that you have seen, and I think that it's important to point that out. Another thing that's important to point out, we've talked about run differential, if that matters. Here down the stretch, it definitely matters. And right now, the Cardinals are currently at minus 56, which is 22nd in the league. I think that tells the story a lot, too, about this group.
You know what made me sad watching the game last night? Oh, there was a lot. But one of the things that made me sad is watching Hunter Green, and all I could think about was Alex Reyes.
Yeah.
That's Alex Reyes. That's who he was supposed to be for this club. And Hunter Green coming into his own, puking out on the mound, which he did last night. I mean, he was awesome last night. So I'm not sure anybody was going to hit him, but to the bullpen question and getting to the bullpen and doing some kind of damage, you have to do it. And there's no excuses in this game. Hunter Green is really good. He was really good last night, but you got to get to him. If you're going to the playoffs, you got to beat these teams. And right now, they're not. It's as simple as that.
Were you guys surprised to see Jordan Walker not starting in the game yesterday? It was just his second game back.
I was. I was surprised. Now, they probably clearly hated the matchup against Hunter Green and don't want him to get buried. And I don't think we're going to see much of a platoon. I kind of looked at it the other way. Can we get, if you're Ollie saying, can we get Newbar going? Can we get somebody else going? I understand I'm going to sit him one game, let him catch his breath a little bit. He's back up, but we're going to give him a big run because you're going to need him. I mean, that's one thing, is that you're going to need him to produce. Somebody needs to produce from the outfield position. But the other part is, whether you're not, if you're not going anywhere, let him play. Let's just see what he can do. Let him play.
Meanwhile, and the Cardinals did lose 4-1 finale of the series tonight at the So-So American Ballpark. Eric Fetty, by the way, 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 homers. Club America in the League's Cup knocks off St. Louis City SC by a score of 4-2. A flurry of chances, and Thor missed the most wide-open net you'll ever see. City down 1-0 at halftime before shocking the crowd with 2 quick tallies in Carson in the 49th and 55th minutes. But eventually, the quality and depth from the Mexicans took over, tying things up in the 79th minute and getting a light penalty call to take the lead in the 86th, and then driving the knife through the eye, as it were. With a 4th goal on a breakaway in the 98th minute of a 90-minute game.
I stayed up and watched. Did you guys watch?
Oh, you're a gamer. I
was able to see some of it, yeah.
I missed it.
I think a takeaway, and I don't know, Dan, if you observe this, and Rocchio, you can weigh in as well, because I know that you were watching, but I know that you didn't come away with a win, but I thought that there were some positives in the way that, given where City was prior to the tournament, I think a performance like this is at least encouraging that they're going in a right direction.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to watch. I didn't expect them to win, but did I get entertained in the game? I certainly did. I mean, you're taking on one of the best clubs literally in the world, so that was kind of fun to see, especially when they were leading in that game. They got to figure out how to manage a little bit of the fatigue that they had. I don't know if you agree with that, Rocc. And then the lacking of defensive depth options to try to see the rest of the game out. I thought that was a problem too, but I just thought they got worn down as this game went on. I really did.
Yeah, eventually, depth and talent is going to win out, and that's why soccer has a restriction on subs, because you just saw eventually Club America was able to get their subs in, and I think City was trying to just get a break in the game where it felt like everything wasn't completely in Club America's favor to get their subs on, and unfortunately Club America was able to tie things up at 2 apiece before City was able to get their legs on. And then you get, and again, in my opinion, what was a light penalty call for them to take the lead. It kind of felt a little inevitable to a point where they just got because when they were able to string together passes, it's just, you saw the quality, and good MLS teams have been able to cut up your defense. Club America is a great Liga MX team, which means they're much better in talent overall. So it was gonna happen eventually.
And then in the biggest competition of the night, congratulations to Duke's Barbecue, the UPC Wingding last night at the Armory, and Brooke and I were judges. Duke's wins among the judges for both.
Hold on, you guys were judges?
Yeah,
yes.
big time.
So did it get hotter as it went along, or did it start out hot?
For us, it did. It was various types of wings, but we tested 11 wings. Was it number 9?
It was 8 and 9.
8 and 9
Oh,
that were
Dan,
super
I remember.
hot.
Yeah, 8 and 9.
He got you a little bit?
Yeah, because at first 8, we don't know whose wings they are. It's just numbered, and so you have a scoring sheet that's like 0 to 3 based off appearance, all this stuff. So I smelled it at first. I was like, oh, this is a little sweet. This will be fine. Just took a bite. I'm like, oh, wow. All right, that one lingers a little bit, and then the next one as well. So we had to dip into some ranch.
Yeah, we did. So Duke's wins in the Buffalo and in the dry rub division, and in the specialty, our friends at Chicken Out were the winners, and then the People's Choice winners were Felix's in Dogtown. Now, Dan, you need to know that Brooke and I were sitting next to each other, and we got wing number 4. And you have to give a grade for appearance, you have to give a grade for tenderness, and a grade for flavor.
Hold on, a grade for appearance? It's a chicken wing, for God's sake.
But you've seen an ugly chicken wing.
They're all good.
Yeah, those are the
Yeah, but you maybe have seen one where you're like, that doesn't look as appetizing.
Probably right.
We get number 4. And we both say, wow, that's a good-looking wing. Then we bite into it. Ooh, that's a tender wing. Then we get the flavor. Ooh, that's awesome. So I had them at a 9. 3. You could give them a maximum of 3 points in each category. I give them 3s. Did you give them a 9 also?
Oh, 100%,
okay.
yes.
So we finished the thing, okay? And Brooke and I are, as it turns out, food motivated. We're kind of like little puppies. And so I asked the guy in charge, I said, hey, what was number 4? He said, I don't know. That girl over there knows. Well, she disappears. I said, we got to find this girl. We got to find out what number 4 was. So we look around, and finally we find the person. She says, I can't tell you. And I said, come on. And she said, okay, number 4 was Duke's. I said, they're going to win. They're going to win.
Won.
And they did. But we didn't stop there. We went to stand in the Duke's line, which was very long.
They didn't give you a little special access by being judges?
Just wait, Dan.
We took special access.
Terrible. You're jumping the line.
So no, we didn't jump any line. We left the line. I said, hey, we got to go to where they're cooking these things. So we go to the back, and I am like a trapped rat. I can't get out of the armory. I don't know how to get out. So finally, there's a platform, and I said, hey, to one of the people cooking, I said, how do I get down there? He said, it was a lift. He said, just take that little yellow box and press the down button. So I said, Brooke, come over here. So we get on the lift. This is after like 6 or 7 minutes of looking for a door to get out.
Dan, there was a door on the other side. I think he just really wanted to take the lift.
It sounds like
we end up on the lift. So we drop down on the lift. We make our way over to Duke's and tell them how awesome they are. And they're great people from Duke's Barbecue. And I said, Brooke promised her husband that she'd be bringing some wings.
You threw her under the bus.
No, just David. So they said, "Oh, no problem." So Brooke and I, very food motivated, got wings. But we determined that we were food motivated, resourceful, and we accomplished what we set out to accomplish.
Hyperfixated, I think, is another word.
That's a good one.
I will say we are very determined people. So when we put our minds to something, I discovered that we will go to any lengths to be able to get what we want.
And then, Dan, so there are steps to walk back up into the armory. I wanted to take the little lift to lift us up.
And I said, Randy, no, come on.
So
come on now.
We took the steps.
Were you two the only judges?
No, there were 10 judges per category.
Oh, okay.
So Courtney from the Courtney Show was one of the judges, did a great job.
They had influencers there?
Our friend AD from KC next door, influencers, yeah. So it was fun. So anyway, congratulations to all the participants. All of the wings were great. Everybody that was there that was volunteering, and UPC, they were great to us. UPC Heartland does great work.
Honest question. Are you supposed, when you get something really hot like that, are you supposed to drink a glass of milk? Mm-hmm. That calms down the heat.
Super hot thing, yeah.
Okay.
But we had water, and we both had a Diet Coke, too.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
We were able to handle it that way.
Were they drummies or flats?
It went either way.
Oh, okay.
We give you a little bit of both.
So AD and I are, because AD's on Brooks, he was on the other side of you, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're working the flat like you're supposed to stick in your mouth. And were you grossed out by that? You said you guys are really working.
No, I wasn't grossed out. I always find, and people can text into this, but there's different techniques for eating wings. And some people, just do the full, like, put it in the mouth and pull it out. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. Do you know what I'm talking about, Dan? Have you seen people do that?
Oh, yeah.
Where you put the entire wing in and pull it out?
I've seen Randy do it.
Yeah. I kind of go around it the other way. Because I can't eat like, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So one of the unfortunate aspects to last night is that the Fenton Bar and Grill wasn't there. The best trashed wings you will ever have, and they would have blown away the field. They're fantastic. But congratulations to Dukes. They did participate. Dukes out in Wentzville, by the way, and they are the champions among the judges this year. And Felix's in Dogtown is the People's Choice champions for the 2024 UPC Wingding.
But the Fenton Bar and Grill, Randy, they would have taken the championship.
Rudder Road in Fenton. Yeah, you got to order those wings today. Get over to the Fenton Bar and Grill and tell them Randy sent you. Speaking of Uncle Randy, we've got Uncle Randy coming up here on 101 ESPN. Get your text in, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho!
I'm a little bit under the weather, if you can't tell.
Understood.
But I'll give you yo-ho.
Thank you.
They had to come deep.
We've got an Ask Uncle Randy coming up for you next time, 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Danny Mack, and let's tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage on this Wednesday morning. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home, maybe refinance, looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, well, you don't know where to go, what direction to go to in any of these things. We make it easy for you, and our ESPN listeners call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We called him up this morning. Stewie, good morning, and what's going on right now with the inflation reports?
Well, Danny, this morning there's going to be another inflation report coming out. I expect inflation to be going down. That's good for mortgage rates continuing to drop. Take advantage now. We just had an ESPN listener, locked him in yesterday. Closed last year, new construction, almost about 3 months ago. That's about it. You have no waiting period. You can refinance anytime. He's going 0.5% lower. We're taking him 0.5% lower on the interest rate for free. He's saving $225 a month and maybe even getting rid of the PMI. So this is a great opportunity. Grab it while you can. You know how crazy this world is. Tomorrow can change overnight. Take advantage now. Don't wait. Take it now. And then later on, rates go down. We can always do it again.
And here's something else. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, Stewie's going to get you to the closing table fast. Try 10 days. He'll get you the best interest rate possible. Also has the bagel loan. You hear about that all the time. What is the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, no closing costs. That's with Stewart. He's your guy. Personal cell phone. He's on it right now, as you know. Call him, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Or, Stewie, what else can you do?
Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
Three 9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
Time for Ask Uncle Randy here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Dan, Randy, Matthew. Matthew, what do you got for us on the old text line today?
Well, right off the bat, we got a good one.
Okay.
Uncle Randy, my girlfriend is going to move in with me in the next month or so. How do I break this to my kids?
Okay. Well, assuming your girlfriend is 25 and your son is 25.
Randy.
Wow.
He might like that.
Randy.
Okay. It'd help to have the age of the kids. I think 4 or 5-year-old kids would be different than 10, 11-year-old kids, would be different than 16, 17-year-old kids, and would be different from 22, 23-year-old kids. But I think what you need to do is set them down and say, I really like this woman. Obviously, the kids know her, and I want her to become part of our family, so I've invited her to join our family. And if the kids have a retort, say, no, you just like her. Go for it, like her.
What do you think the age has to be for the kids to take this in?
Probably, it's probably difficult for all kids, right? I would think, depending on how we've gotten to the single father family. But I don't know that there is an age.
Okay.
I know that.
Tough question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I know that, like in SpongeBob SquarePants, where I think it was Patrick said, "You are my paw." I think you're going to have situations.
You are my paw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love SpongeBob. I still watch SpongeBob.
I do too. But if the kids say, "You are my ma," then you have to try to meld the two personalities.
So I went ahead and asked that question of
good.
how long have you guys been dating, and how old are the kids? And he replied 4 years and 20.
Oh, well, that's
nothing.
Yeah.
No worries.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, they've been dating I think that also how long you've been dating matters
Yeah, that
in
does,
this
yeah.
conversation too.
Yeah, 20. Come on. Just be careful. Be careful if she's 24. I'm just saying.
Come on now, Randall.
People make movies about that.
That's where you go first on trying to answer this question.
Yeah.
The ages of the girlfriend and the kids.
Well, yeah.
We need to get more.
Well, it probably would be awkward if she's under 20. To be fair, to your point, Randy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if your kids are older than the girlfriend, that could be
Or the same age.
or the same age. What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying. It has happened.
It has.
You get a Legally Blonde situation. She was really mad that her dad was dating a girl like 5 years older.
Oh, that's
than her.
right. Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Come on, guys. Jeez. I love questions like this one. Uncle Randy, my 11...
She
killed him.
She killed him, yeah.
On accident, obviously. Can't wash your hair after a perm. My 11U football team plays a run-heavy team this Saturday. Should we run a 6-front or play our base 5-3 defense? Personally, Randy, I'm more partial to the 5-3 defense because you need to get your linebackers running into space and covering the edges, closing off that running game, forcing them back to the backside.
Yeah, you've got to, if you've got an 11U run and hit linebacker, he's going to have a big day for you. But yeah, what he does, he's Derek Brooks. He just goes and finds the ball carrier and brings him down. That's the way to run that defense. Now, what happens is if you run a 6-man front against a run-heavy team, they break through the line of scrimmage, then all of a sudden you've got a real problem if your defensive backfield is charged with trying to bring down that 215-pound sixth grader. So I would suggest, as Matthew said, that you go with your normal 5-3.
That was an extremely accurate description of how these games usually go. Yep. Damn 215-pound sixth grader.
Yep.
What about going old school, Randall, and just going Tampa 2 or something?
Well, that's fine. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to have the talent to be able to do it. And you better, if you haven't, Mr. 11U coach, 3-time Letterman, if you haven't taught your players how to tackle yet, probably too late, but get ready for another run-heavy team. Teach them how to tackle properly. You know, get low, see what you're hitting, and then wrap up and bring them down. Because if you're trying to bring down that 215-pound sixth grader, you got to tackle low. You got to get them tackle around the legs.
This is so specific what you keep saying.
They need to hire you to put you on the sideline here, Randy.
I love this.
What is the right age to start your kid into football, you think?
4. Tackle. Touch 3.
God, Randy, how much do you miss doing pregame football?
No, tackle football. I would say that you do flag football, 7-on-7 kind of stuff until I have no problem with kids waiting until they're freshmen in high school playing tackle football. I think that's probably the way it should be.
Is that what Patrick did?
Yep.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I got mauled. Yeah.
But you know what? You can learn how to play.
Did you play?
I was all over the place.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything.
Swiss Army knife out there?
Pretty much.
It's Bob Shannon, his favorite thing in coaching was getting a kid that stepped on the field in 9th grade, had never played football before, and turned him into a player. He just loved that.
I feel like there's a league or a kind of football coming in the next 5 or 6 years where it's the 7-on-7 principles, but still giving kids the chance to actually develop as their lineman skills, like defensive and offensive linemen.
It's called the NFL.
Well, I'm saying finding a way for a 12-year-old to actually learn how to give a 12-year-old a reason to learn how to do a kick step instead of just learning how to run as a 7-on-7 is what I'm saying.
It's called the NFL.
No, non-contact, Randy. Dear Uncle Randy, I really love my job, but they won't allow me to advance due to my unorthodox approach to banking. I'm not corporate enough. I'm actually a real person, and I'm able to connect with my customers on a personal and professional level. Should I kick the tires or stick around?
I would kick the tires, and if you can find somebody that will adhere to your unorthodox style of banking, then I think that you should go there. I'm guessing, though, that most banks probably are not going to be on board with somebody who's unorthodox with the banking. That's kind of like having your own strike zone for an umpire. You can't be unorthodox with people's money. I maybe the thing to do is just to hang where you are. Well, kick the tires and see if you can find somebody that would say, okay, here's the way I do this, and I'm great at it, but you're going to have to change your rules for me a little bit. You can do that, or you can stay where you are if they like you. And I know that it's a hassle to not be able to advance. I think it's going to be a hassle as well, though, to try to find a bank that's on board with somebody who's unorthodox with the banking. That's kind of like having your own strike zone for an umpire. Maybe the thing to do is just to hang where you are. Well, you are going to have to change your rules for me a little bit. You can do that, or you can stay where you are if they like you, and I know that it's a hassle to not be able to advance. I think it's going to be a hassle as well, though, to try to find a bank that's on board with allowing somebody to provide an unorthodox style of banking.
Maybe it kind of sounds like what he's talking about is that he wants to give that more personal approach of advice that he thinks is truly better. And maybe there's too much corporate overhead that is happening there where they're wanting to push their customers into a certain direction. But he sees something different that could be tailored more specifically to that customer.
Okay, that's an interesting change. Then if that's what you're looking for, something that is unorthodox in this day and age, try to find a locally owned and operated full-service bank that is all about service. Because of the big national brands, I'm sure there are people that do a great job of servicing people there.
Cookie-cutter approach.
Right. But most local banks are all about knowing the name of the customer and having them be able to come in and talk to somebody that they trust on an everyday basis. If you can find to that place and it gives you the opportunity to advance, then go for it. Thank you for that clarification, Brooke.
Yeah, I think Brooke really honed in on that. Hunter on the YouTube chat also says, sounds like the guy doesn't want to sell products to the customers. Like, because if you, like Brooke says, corporate, you're going to have like quotas and things when they want you to push like certain, and especially in this sector, like financial services and things like that. And so if you just refuse to push that stuff to people you know don't actually need it, then you're always going to be buttressing up against management.
I thought he was using new math.
No, to your point, when you say you're unorthodox about banking, it does sound like you're stealing money.
It kind of does.
Like that phrase
Have you
just
heard of
said,
penny
like,
stocks?
I'm unorthodox about banking.
Right.
It sounds like you're stealing money.
Yeah. Here, let's talk about this thing, crypto, that we've got.
Oh, Bitcoin? Have you heard of it?
It sounds like you're laundering. Uncle Randy, generous wedding gifts in the Midwest are usually $100, $200, but I have a wedding to go to in New York where the gifts are $500 to $1,000. What should I do? I have the money for the bigger gift. I just don't think it's fair.
Well, if you have the money for it, there's nothing wrong. You can never be too nice. And if that's what it is in New York, that's what it is in New York. So, you know what? The people aren't going to be upset if you give them $250. They aren't going to say, oh, what a cheapskate this person is. I wouldn't worry about that. But what's this thing that do as they in Rome, do as the Romans do? Right?
Yeah.
When in Rome, when in Rome. Yeah, when in Rome. Let's just use that. And if you have the money, and that's the standard going rate, you should have gotten married in New York, Brooke. If that,
Yeah.
if that's the standard going rate,
register
then
in New York.
go with it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, $500 to $1,000 though. That does seem pretty extreme.
Yeah.
I think it is nice just for wedding parties though to have a lot of different options where you have a registry where maybe you can pick. It's not the most expensive things, but people could get multiple things. Or a new thing that a lot of people are doing is just where you can make a cash donation, and that should be in a certain range of like 100 to maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it even matters.
The Italians have been doing that for centuries, by the way.
Yeah.
But that is something that I
was thinking about where on our wedding website there was an option on the knot where you could just send it directly instead of having to bring a physical check or cash.
Oh,
well, there's something,
Yeah,
something about a satin bag filled with envelopes of money that the Italians decided was really, really beautiful, and honestly, I respect that.
Yeah, that's true. That does look really nice and probably fun to take home.
Right?
I can go either way on this answer. Number one, if you have the money and you can be generous and it fits what New York is, I have no problem with that. But at the same time, you are from the Midwest, and I don't think if you give them $250 that anybody will complain about the generosity of your gift.
Well, they're saying like these gifts range from $500 to $1,000, so they might even not have an option to give them cash. Are
you
they
can
saying they
just
just only
cash
have
in an envelope and drop it in the slot?
That's what I would do.
Say I'm from St. Louis.
Yeah. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Put a big STL on the envelope, then they know exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
Sam from St. Louis. Yeah, really give him a good impression of the flyover states. Thanks. Dear Uncle Randy, is it wrong for me to pick up something to eat on my way home from work and not tell my wife because I don't like what she's cooking that night, and then I just eat it in my car?
That is wrong. And she should know what you like and what you don't like that she prepares. She's going to the time and trouble to prepare a meal for you. And if there are certain things, you don't like a fish casserole, you tell her that you don't like a fish casserole. And maybe I would hope that she cares enough about you that you would be able to come to an agreement on things that you like that she's going to the trouble to make for you. Yes, it is wrong to not tell her and buy something and then come home and say, yeah, I'm not hungry. I think you're better off just saying, I don't really. I appreciate your cooking, and I know what you're doing is great with the recipe. I just don't like it. So can we cross this off the list?
Are you speaking from experience, Randall?
No. No experience whatsoever in this regard. No, I have never. Well, one of the reasons that I got really, really big is because I would come home after work because I was working afternoons and evenings, and I lived on.
And when people say evenings, it was midnight.
Yeah, well, midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So my ute was a little bit different than that. But no, I just think if she's going to the trouble to make it for you, she wants you to like it. So just say, hey, this is a dish that I don't particularly like, but don't buy something and eat it in your car and then get home and she's gone to the time and trouble to make it and then just have her eat it by herself.
Yeah, I think that would be really awkward.
Yeah, rude.
Especially if she went through the time of making it.
Yeah, right. So just be honest with her and say, hey, I don't really like that. Can we? Here's the things that I do love that you make. I think that'd be a good idea. Or another fun thing. There's a couple of fun things like the blue apron kind of things. Those are always fun. Cook together. Find a way to get to cook together. Maybe eat dinner a little bit later, and make something together that you like and hopefully she likes too.
Honesty approach.
Yeah.
Carrot cake.
Oh, carrot cake on the Traeger, Daniel.
Every single night.
Your birthday is right around the corner.
My birthday is Monday, Dan. I'm
yes,
old.
it is. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Yeah.
You're not old. Maybe
am
old at heart when you listen to Uncle Randy.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but physically, you're outstanding.
Yeah, and age is just a number unless you're dating someone younger than your children.
I would argue Uncle Randy ages him down when you think about it. Yeah. Some of these answers he gives you, I feel like it's aging him down.
They're beautiful.
You're keeping him young.
It's a beautiful thing.
Coming up here, thanks very much for your texts, by the way.
Good advice, Randall.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Coming up, we've got MLB Storylines as we have 120 games played. We've got a quarter of the season left. MLB Storylines with that next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals fall again to the Cincinnati Reds 4-1. Eric Fetty with the start, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 home runs allowed. The Cardinals will try to get out of Cincinnati without getting swept today with another 5:40 first pitch. It'll be Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Cardinals. Gibson on the season is 7-4 with a 3.99 ERA. He goes up against a bullpen start for the Cincinnati Reds. Right now, it is projected for Emilio Pagan to start for the Reds. Pagan on the season has a 2-3 record with a 4.22 ERA through 21 1/3 innings pitched. Also, last night, St. Louis City SC is knocked out of the League's Cup in the round of 16 by Club America by a 4-2 score. They were leading 2-1 in the 79th minute, but eventually Club America was able to tie things up and eventually take the lead. They move on to the round of 8. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Matthew, you said the Cardinals face Emilio Pagan tonight in Cincinnati?
That's the projected opener.
If he starts, I would imagine they'll have a devil of a time with him.
Oh. That works a lot less fun than when the Mets had the outfielder.
Angel?
Yeah.
Angel. That was kind of weird. Angel Devil. So, it was. So, guys, here we have a quarter of the season left, and the Yankees moved into first place in the East again last night. They've been great since the trade deadline, since they got Jazz Chisholm from the Marlins. He's been a huge part of their success. Well, he's got a UCL injury now and is headed to the IL. We may not see him in the field again this year, and that would be a big blow, I think, to the Yankees. Adding Chisholm to Judge and Soto was a perfect compliment. They needed him. And I don't know that they can succeed. I don't know that they can win the division without Jazz Chisholm in the lineup.
And he was doing really well, too, when he came over. You could tell that he was really motivated, and that's another huge loss for them.
And he gives them flexibility with where he plays. He's played third base. He can play second base. He can play center field. They still have Soto and Judge, which have been incredible, but they do need Chisholm down the stretch.
That complimentary piece.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, he injured it. He injured his elbow on a headfirst slide.
Exactly.
Sliding into
he was
a base.
running and slid into a base.
So I'm looking at teams in the NL wildcard race, which I'm sure a lot of us are doing right now. And the Diamondbacks are currently 68-53. They were able to pick up a win last night, and they sit in first place in the National League wildcard race as of right now. And of course, as we know, there's many teams that are fighting for a spot in the postseason, and it really could come down to the final stretch. But one of their key factors is a young player, and he's going to be the difference because he was the difference last season, and finally he's really starting to heat up because up until this point, the Diamondbacks have really had an up-and-down season, and it's been kind of an up-and-down campaign, sophomore campaign for Corbin Carroll. And before the All-Star break, he was hitting just .212 and had only 5 home runs. He hit 25 last season. In 21 games since the All-Star break, Carroll is hitting .247, has hit 6 more home runs, bringing his season total up to 11. So we know what he was able to do last year. If he continues to stay hot, I think he will be the difference maker once again for the Diamondbacks.
Watching the game the other night, I guess it was last night, and it's not only winning games that they have, but how they're winning. And you can see that they're coming back late in games. There's a belief, and I'm sure it's part of the byproduct of how they finished up last year and making that great run and going to a World Series. And they're going to be a tough team to beat again. So I'm with you, Brooke. I think that's one of the teams to watch out for. It's crazy, but here we are through 120 games, and it's the Guardians, not the Dodgers, not the Orioles, not the Yankees, not the Phillies. They are MLB's best team through 120 games. They sit 22 games above 500. And remember, this is with a new manager, Stephen Vogt, replacing Terry Francona, a legend, probably a Hall of Famer, a team that only won 76 games last year. And you say, well, why has this happened? And their bullpen has just been awesome. They have a 2.76 ERA. So when we talk about the Dodgers and we talk about the Yankees and we talk about these big market teams, you cannot overlook what the Cleveland Guardians have done this year. They have been fantastic and a fun team to watch.
Somebody's got to steal what makes their pitching as effective. Their young, developed pitching as good as it is. I mean, you think about the people that they get, like Kluber and Clevenger, and there's a million of these guys that they get. They trade at the right time, and they just bring up another guy.
And they find a way to produce. I mean, that's the other thing, bringing guys up, and we talked about it with the Cardinals' perspective of things, but bringing guys up, and they produce at a high level, and that's the reason that they're headed to postseason play.
You know, it's really interesting, guys. Based on the way the teams have played, I would not be surprised if Arizona and Cleveland would wind up in the World Series against each other. Arizona, they've gotten Eduardo Rodriguez back. He made his second start last night. They've got Merrill Kelly back. You mentioned the way they're winning games. They scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th last night. Carroll is in the middle of that rally. Jake McCarthy drives home 2 to win it in the bottom of the 9th. They've got their pitching going. They need to get Sewald, their closer, going, and he got going a little bit last night. But they've got a really good manager in Torey Lovullo. And then I'm amazed at Cleveland's consistency with pitching. But then Jose Ramirez is one of the 5 best offensive players in the sport. And then you get Stephen Kwan bouncing back and being one of the 10 best offensive players in the sport this year. No, didn't see that coming.
No.
And they just got a lot of the Naylor brothers are amazing.
Yep.
They've got a lot of really good things happening in Cleveland.
I love watching them. And you just mentioned 2 of the teams that I watch every night, and it's Arizona and it's Cleveland, and they find ways to win.
And they're fun to watch.
That's what I mean. They're entertaining.
Yeah.
It's entertaining baseball.
And by the way, the Padres are fun to watch, too. And San Diego played Pittsburgh last night. I didn't get a chance to see the end of that one, but Mike Schilt had his team up early, and they wound up winning 3-0. And Michael King is great for them. I'm going to give you guys a stat here. Hold on. Let me get a leader thing for you. Michael King came in the Soto trade, and he's been great for them. If you look at the leading strikeout guys in the National League this year, Chris Sale was in the American League last year. Shoto Imanaga was in Japan. It's amazing how many strikeout pitchers came over from the American League to the National League this year and now are having great years.
I wonder if it's a byproduct of National League hitters haven't seen these guys. You know, that's part of it, too, is that you can look at all the film and all the tape on a particular pitcher, but still, and I know there's interleague play and you're going to see a team once a year, but that's once a year and you may miss them in the rotation. Of not having a true familiarity with some of these pitchers, if that's part of it, too.
Could be. Top 6 in strikeouts in the National League in 2024. Dylan Cease was with the White Sox last year. Chris Sale was with the Red Sox last year. Tyler Glasnow was with the Rays last year. Sonny Gray was with the Twins last year. Then Hunter Green, and then Michael King, who was with the Yankees last year.
Wow.
5 of the top 6.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pretty amazing. Those are your MLB storylines as we head into the stretch run here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, it's Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year we decided it was time to make a major upgrade to our home by updating our bathroom. We have this house in U City. It's over 100 years old and we love it, but we never exactly loved our main bathroom. So we decided to make a major change, and we reached out to one of our great sponsors here of 101 ESPN, and that is EMB Granite. EMB Granite's team visited our house for a free consultation, and they came up with a vision of how to really transform our bathroom. My favorite part of working with EMB Granite was stopping by their amazing showroom to explore their large selection of in-stock custom countertops, all their different cabinet options. It was so much fun working with Jen. She had so many great ideas for us that really fit within our budget. And that's what they've been doing there at EMB Granite for over 20 years, turning visions into realities. So schedule your free consultation by calling this number, 314-645-9300, or go online at embgranite.com, or stop by their amazing showroom today and make sure you mention that I sent you.
Take it or leave it.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Time for Tioli here on 101 ESPN, and we've had a little over 22 hours to digest the Blues offer sheets to Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway of the Edmonton Oilers. Brooke and Dan and Matthew, now that you've had a chance to look at the Edmonton salary cap situation and where the Blues are and everything that's going on, take it or leave it, the Blues will get both Broberg and Holloway as free agents.
I'm going to take that.
Really?
I'm going to take that because they're in cap hell right now.
Really
$7.2 million over the cap?
It's just around there. Here's the thing I would say, though, about this. What happens to Jake Neighbors when he comes up for free agency and all of a sudden the Edmonton Oilers have some cap room? They go, oh, okay, Doug, you did this to us. We'll be happy to give Jake Neighbors a nice contract and return the favor to you. I could see that happening.
Totally. And he's obviously Jake Neighbors, Edmonton Oil Kings, right?
Exactly.
He's played there. I could totally see them doing, whether it's Neighbors or somebody else.
Yeah.
They'll take a shot at the Blues for an RFA.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave it. I think they'll get one of them. But at the same time, I really love the aggressive move by Doug Armstrong and what he was able to do there.
Me too.
I guess it comes down to Kane, too. If he goes on LTIR. Yeah. If he goes on that and then they can save the $5 million, then it might give them a little wiggle room, correct?
But then he would have to be out for the whole season.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because then if he goes on LTIR and then comes back, then they're in the same boat they are right now, being way over the cap, and they would have to get rid of somebody substantial.
And they have to think about Dreisaitl's contract next year.
Right.
So that's another factor.
Yeah. And
Bouchard, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, take it or leave it, guys. Luke and Baker will get another shot with the big league club this season.
That's a good one. I'm going to leave it because he's so one-dimensional. It'd be a shot in the arm. I think you anytime that you promote somebody, I think you do get excitement. And he's done everything he can to get to this level. But you're not going to use him defensively over Goldie. And they have some options with what they have now, albeit not producing, but some options I think that they'd rather see get a chance. I lean towards more so that Ivan Herrera will get that shot above Luke and Baker.
As awesome as he has been at Memphis the last 2 years, The Cardinals, and this probably is not fair, they're looking at those 99 plate appearances last year, 2 home runs and a 627 OPS. They're probably looking at more at what he did in that limited time in the majors than what he's done in an enormous amount of time and the enormous statistics he's put up at the minor league level.
Let's face it, if they felt he was a major leaguer, he'd be here now. Yeah, he'd be here now, especially with the offense sputtering at times for the Cardinals. And speaking of that, I was looking at just averages, and I know OPS is what we all should be looking at, but I still go look at batting averages. Leading the National League right now with a 301 average is Marcell Ozuna. Take it or leave it, before the season ends, the batting champion of the National League will hit below 300.
I'm going to take that.
Oh, I will take
Isn't that incredible?
Especially with this year, with how offense has been.
Luis Arraez, right?
He's right around 300.
Wow.
Right around it.
Yeah.
So
he's
and
one of the
Ozuna,
best hitters, bat to ball. Yeah.
He'd be my guy that I'd say would have that shot because Ozuna is more of a power hitter. I'd go with Arraez, but you may have a situation where it was like Carl Yastrzemski. I went back and looked at the history of baseball.
Yeah, when he hit 301?
Hit 301 in 1968 and won the batting title.
Yeah.
You're the pitcher. Yep. But that's pretty amazing that somebody may not hit 300 and win a batting championship.
And just criminal that you could only have 2 guys that are right above 300. Tony Gwynn would not stand for that. And
I agree.
This is a baseball thing. It's not the players. Baseball has accepted strikeouts over hitting the ball.
Yep. That's just the way it goes.
Yep.
I don't like it, but that's the way it goes.
Yep, no doubt. Matthew, what do you got for us on the text line?
That's the way baseball go. Take it or leave it. There will not be a major external offensive upgrade for the Cardinals this season.
Take it.
External offensive. Oh.
Yeah.
I will take that.
Yeah, they'll hope for
the young guys to produce.
Right.
Yes.
Hope for
take another step
from them. Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you. Matthew, you're giggling.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll read it anyway. Take it or leave it. Will the Cardinals put profits aside to reward the fans with a championship caliber team?
I'm going to leave that. I'm going to say that they will not. I'm going to say that.
Will we all skip through Candyland with bunnies all around us too?
They're running a business.
Jesus.
So I would think that they will not put profits aside. That's not how you become a billionaire.
You know what's going to be interesting is if this indeed is Mo's last year coming up, do they go for it? You know, Mr. DeWitt is not getting any younger. And you say, okay, we're going to have one more crack at it. We're going to open up the purse strings, and we're going to try to go for it. On the flip side, the TV issue, I think, is a real issue, and what you have financially coming in. Do you need to restructure that? Will you restructure that? Are you going to have to do that? And then what do you do with Goldie? I mean, there's some things that you can do to take players off the books. Rotation is another thing. And would you dedicate that then to offense, which is something that they need?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it 2 different ways.
Yeah, I just don't think that they can. And number one, if you look at their team, I guess you could go out and get Pete Alonso, right? He's going to be a free agent, and you could give him $28, $29, $30 million a year. That would help the offense. I wonder where else, though, because I haven't looked at the free agent list this year. I wonder what would be attractive to the Cardinals and Cardinal fans this offseason.
There's a lot of things, too, that you have to think about this offseason. Will they re-sign Paul Goldschmidt? Will he want to stay in St. Louis? What happens with Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn? And do you bring back Tommy Pham? So there's a lot of question marks there.
And do you sign Juan Soto?
Oh.
Probably not.
Oh. Okay. Hey, put profits aside. If you want to put profits aside, you sign
really
Juan Soto.
For it.
Is that it? Are we done?
I wonder if I wish really hard if I can just have $1 million appear in front of me, like a championship team.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Take it or leave it. With the extra wild card team and more teams, quote unquote, in the race, Major League Baseball needs to bring back the waiver trade deadline.
Oh, I like this. Yeah, I'll take that.
Here's a question. Would you move back the trade deadline? So move it back with all these teams that are at the trade deadline. They feel like they're in it. But then move it back a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or a month and say that'll be the trade deadline because so many teams still feel that they're in it. And maybe at that point, after 3 or 4 weeks, they realize they're not. And then all of a sudden you get some of the trades that the more splashier trades, the ones that really garner your attention.
I'll take that. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, that's just something to think about.
I wonder if, though, when you look at what's happened, because the Cardinals still believe they're in it, it looks like maybe the Rangers have fallen out.
That's one of the teams.
And the Reds have gotten in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Reds, you got to say, That would be the flip side of this. I always use the flip side, but that would be the other thing. You'd say, well, now this team's in.
Yeah, they're a buyer now.
Exactly.
2 weeks after the trade deadline.
And what's happening, how they're playing, they got Hunter Green, they've got some decent starting pitching, and they'd have a chance to maybe do some damage.
Yeah. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Hey, coming up next year on 101 ESPN, even though the Cardinals are average, I mean, can't get much more average than 60 and 60, will you go this weekend to watch people like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you live in St. Louis, homes in the community commonly face water heater issues like sediment buildup and odd sounds and insufficient hot water and leaks. No matter what issue you may be experiencing, Hoffman Brothers can quickly diagnose and resolve the problem. Schedule today at HoffmanBros.com or give them a call or send them a text at 314-664-3011 and make sure that your water heater is good to go. There's nothing worse than getting up in the morning and having your hot water heater out and you're forced to take a cold shower. No, way too cold. And so you need to make sure that your water heater works, but your air conditioner is good too. And if you haven't had your maintenance done, it's just like getting the oil changed in your car. By doing maintenance on your outdoor air conditioner, it can save you costly repairs and also allow your system to run so much more efficiently. Again, make the appointment at HoffmanBros.com or give them a call 314-664-3011. Hoffman Brothers is your local, proud to be a Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor. Find them on the web right now at HoffmanBros.com. a fun weekend in St. Louis, even though the Cardinals are average and they'll either be a game over or a game under 500 when the series against the Dodgers starts. You'll have an opportunity to see a rare team. Now, the Dodgers aren't performing as one of the great teams in the history of the sport, but you've got a couple of Hall of Famers in Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts. Freddie Freeman probably is a Hall of Famer. And when you look at what they bring to the table, the Dodgers, to me, are the team that you want to see. I guess there's two teams in Major League Baseball. In the National League, the Dodgers are the team to see. In the American League, the Yankees are the team to see. But Betts is back now, playing right field. You've got Shohei Ohtani. You've got Freddie Freeman back. If you love baseball, this is a great team to go see. And, oh, by the way, it's pretty good value, too, because the Cardinals are really pushing tickets.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tickets right now for Friday's game, and you can get a lot of close tickets for in that $100 range, less than $100 range. I mean, really good seats. And I don't know how the club tickets are doing. I know that, Randy, you knew the other day. Was it $75 for?
$75, yeah, for all inclusives. So, which is like half off, which is great.
That's enticing, but is it enticing enough? I want to know from fans of if they want to go see this, because I want to see Shohei Ohtani. That is such a spectacular player. He is such a spectacular player. He's a unicorn. He's not pitching, of course, right now, but to be able to see him in person, Mookie Betts, sadly, we will not see Tommy Edman this weekend. There's reports that he will be activated next week, most likely earliest on Monday, so we will not see him.
And Flaherty pitches tomorrow, unfortunately, so we'll miss out on him, but we get Glasnow, Kershaw, and Gavin Stone.
Go see Kershaw. That's another Hall of Famer.
You can make an argument that Clayton Kershaw is the best starting pitcher of all time, if you want to.
In his era, he's and then the eras have changed, clearly. I think if he was better in postseason play,
he'd be looked at differently.
Yeah, I think he would be too. As a baseball fan, I would go down to the ballpark just to watch Ohtani play, Betts, Freeman, and certainly the game I'd go to is Saturday. So I can say I saw that guy pitch, Clayton Kershaw. He was one of the best that ever did it in his era. I also think from a fan's perspective here in St. Louis, what would be your mindset if you went 5-0 on this road trip or won 4 out of 5 and they started winning and you felt like there was momentum going into this series and people would be talking about a playoff preview, maybe, but there'd be a different feel, I can tell you that, in our studio here today if the Cardinals had won 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 so far, something like that, but they didn't. And I think it's recency bias where fans may stay away because they're very frustrated with the way the team is performing.
Yeah, that's why we're couching the question the way we are, because baseball has been a sport historically where you go to see the other guys too, and you appreciate it. I don't think that there has been a pitcher since the 1960 starting pitcher since the 1960 expansion with a better career earned run average than Clayton Kershaw, who is at 2.43 for his career. He's at 2.48 for his career.
Where's Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and those guys?
Let me move down and find those guys. I'll just do a search for Greg Maddox. But it's amazing to think that. Let's see, Maddox's career was 3.16. Kershaw 2.48.
It's amazing, isn't it? 2.5 ERA in this day and age.
Yeah, incredible. And if I'm not mistaken, aside from Mariano Rivera, who was a bullpen guy, I believe that Clayton Kershaw is the best at least since 1960.
And I understand that we're getting a lot of texts. People are frustrated right now with the Cardinals, and I can understand that. 60 and 60, not what you maybe expected going into the season. But again, I go to recency bias. If you're winning, people come out. I always look at winning. Winning takes care of everything.
It does.
And people want to see an exciting product on the field. And honestly, we've talked about it, just even going into this series. If they did perform better, to your point, Dan, against the Reds, you'd probably feel a lot more encouraged and wanting to go buy a ticket to go see the Dodgers and the Cardinals this weekend. But when you see that they've been outscored 10-2 against the Reds and they possibly could be swept today, hopefully that won't happen. But when you see that, does that really entice you to want to go down the field and watch possibly a not so exciting product where we've seen the offense sputter? Because that's the story we keep talking about over and over again.
And that's the question. Do you go to see the Dodgers? If the Cardinals are as average as they are right now, and it can be more average, I'm going to go down on Saturday to see the Dodgers play.
And you want to see Kershaw. You want to see Ohtani. You want to see these big names.
Right. And so that's what I'm looking at. And who would have ever thought the Cardinals would be in this situation? But they are. They're promoting the Dodgers coming to town. And maybe they'll start promoting at some point. Come and see Mookie Betts and the Dodgers. Come and see Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. Maybe they'll have to start promoting other teams' stars like happens so often in the NBA. There's a reason that NBA teams sell out when the Lakers come to town. It's because come and see LeBron and the Lakers, and pretty soon it'll be come and see Wemby and the Spurs, and come and see Kevin Durant and the Suns. They promote other team stars, and that's how they get people into the building. And I'm just wondering if that's something the Cardinal Nation will eventually do as the best baseball fans, or are they just Cardinal fans?
I found myself making sure that I watched Hunter Green last night. Mm-hmm. I wanted to watch him pitch. I did not want to see him throw up. He did throw up on the mound, but I will watch an individual play. I've always been that way. I'm not going to turn away from watching when Aaron Judge comes to the plate. Juan Soto comes to the plate. Forever it was Tony Gwynn for me, or Big Mac when he would come to the plate. You're just not going to turn away because they're superstars and you want to watch them play.
From the 618, I have never gone to watch anyone on the other team. I go to see my team and my team win. That's it.
Uh-huh. And that's, if you are just a Cardinal fan, I get it. That's, and I get that there are people that are not baseball fans or Cardinal fans. That happens with the Blues. With the Blues season, once the Blues season is over, basically in St. Louis, the hockey season is over. There's a small percentage of people that are hockey fans, but there are some people that just want to see their team play. I don't know if my dad was that way. I don't know why I am that way, but I like to see other teams' players play.
I do too.
I always loved to watch Tony Gwynn play when he came into town. I loved watching Gary Sheffield swing the bat. I would pay money to watch Sheffield or Fred McGriff swing the bat.
Bryce Harper for me.
Yep, there's another one. Yeah, Zach Wheeler pitch. Those are fun guys to watch. Yeah, Paul Skeens is for sure worth the price of admission, no doubt.
Brent, you're going to love this take from the 636. Yes, I want to see the Dodgers, but I'm still not going to go out of protest for the Cardinals front office.
Well, people are making their voices heard clearly by not going, and the Cardinals will draw less than are on pace at least to draw less than $3 million this year for the first time since 2003.
And I think Brooks' point is spot on. They're not generating offense, and when you don't generate offense, man, do you look flat. Mm-hmm. And right now they look flat.
They really do.
And they're not doing it. Not doing anything with runners in scoring position, just not scoring runs.
Just no, if you are a sports fan, a baseball fan, and especially if you have young kids, there are very few opportunities, especially on a night like Saturday, to see people like Kershaw, Ohtani, and Betts because of the fact that the Dodgers play in the West. And with the new schedule, they'll be in town once a year.
I also think, like when Pujols was doing his thing in 22, not just home crowds, but road crowds.
Yep.
Place was selling a lot more tickets because you could say, I saw that guy play, and then he wound up hitting over 700 home runs, which is a rarity, but you got to see the guy play.
How about McGuire?
That was amazing. Every stadium was sold out.
Except for Miami.
That was the one.
Yep. Remember he hit the 3, and they were into the upper deck. I think it was 3 separate home runs into the upper deck, but it was empty. The upper deck was empty in Miami.
Didn't they have the tarp in some of the sections?
Yep.
Yeah. Not good.
But it was amazing. Every ballpark was sold out for Big Mac. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, we're going to talk to our buddy John Denton of MLB.com. He's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN. We head to Cincinnati, where John Denton, who writes the Cardinals beat for MLB.com, is standing by. Mr. Denton, good morning. How are you feeling? Pretty average, 60 and 60?
Yeah, pretty average, Randy. That pretty much sums it up right there.
John, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Covered a couple of baseball games. I've seen 2 runs in 2 days. So Cardinals. So it's that offense is a struggle right now. They've got to find a way to get some offense going somehow, some way.
And that kind of leads into what I was going to ask you, because we've heard over and over again, and I've seen the frustrations from Ollie where he's talking about the issues that they've had with runners in scoring position, trying to get something going offensively, and whether it was bringing in a bat at the trade deadline, promoting a right-handed bat in Jordan Walker here recently, or moving guys up and down the lineup, it seems like they've really nearly exhausted every option of trying to find something to catch fire offensively for this group. But is there an option or move that they haven't tried yet?
Prayer, maybe, Brooke. I guess not a lot's working. You're right. Their pitchers haven't pitched well enough. Their starting pitchers, I think, in this 24-game stretch, they're 10 and 14. In the 14 losses, the starters have a 6.5 ERA. They're not scoring runs. They've run into Justin Steele and Shota Imanaga. They've ran into Hunter Green last night. Andrew Abbott was great. We know how they faced against left-handers. It's just been, this perfect storm of them not hitting, their starting pitching not pitching well, and it couldn't happen at a worse time. So they dug their way out of 9 games below 500 back on Mother's Day to go as high as 6 above. And now here we are. They wake up today. They're 60 and 60, back at 500. All the work that they worked to create for the past 2 months has kind of gone away, and their season is really hanging in the balance for the next couple of days. And they've got the Dodgers coming up. They got the Padres coming up. They got 6 of the Brewers coming up. So there's a lot of good teams coming this way.
John, when you talk to Ollie and others around the ball club, what are they saying in terms of how they're going to use Jordan Walker here down the stretch?
Yeah, he pointed out last night that a lot of their righties are here to hit lefties, and a lot of their lefties are here to hit righties. I think that's a little too simplistic. We all know Tommy Pham can hit righties, lefties can hit anybody. Jordan Walker, when he was right last year, when he came back from the minor leagues, he hit everybody. It didn't matter if it was right-handed or left-handed. I think the kid needs to play. I think he needs to play every day. You hope that it's not just a platoon situation, but right now they really don't want to run a lot of their lefties out against, opposing left-handers. So they're going to do a lot of platooning with Jordan Walker and Lars Nootbaar in right field.
Hey, John, if we use the bar for making the playoffs at 90 wins, and it might be 89 or 88, but let's just use it at 90 because I'm bad at math. The Cardinals would have to go 30, and they'd have to win 30 more games. They'd have to go 30 and 12 to get to 90 wins this year and finish the season with 90. Even 88 would be 28 and 14. Could you see the Cardinals playing the rest of this season in their remaining 42 games, 667 ball?
Well, Randy, they did it for a 2-month stretch. They played that well. But, when you look at the schedule, they have the 3rd hardest schedule remaining. They have 3 with the Dodgers, like we said. They have 4 with the Padres. And the Padres might be the best team in baseball right now. But nobody wants to play the Padres. And then you have 6 with Milwaukee. Everybody all seasons kept waiting for Milwaukee to fade. But Milwaukee pitches. They run the bases better than anybody in the league. They have the best defensive team in baseball. Milwaukee's not going away. And, yes, the Cardinals can play that well, but, you just don't see it coming. And, hate to go back to the old Bill Parcells line, but you are what your record says you are. And right now it says that the Cardinals are a 60-60 mediocre team. They go through some highs, they go through some lows. They just can't find a way to put any consistency together. So, the odds are against them. The Fangraphs had them at a 10.4% chance of making the playoffs going into yesterday, so it's even worse now. So, the odds are definitely stacked against them.
Never, ever hate going back to using a Bill Parcells line. They're the best. Every single Bill Parcells line that you know is a great line.
Yes, that's true. Very true. About the groceries, buying the groceries. Yep, that's a good one, too.
Yep.
John, we've been talking about the struggles of Nolan Gorman and with Lars Nootbaar this week when we were kind of going back to that question I had earlier about trying to find something offensively. Gorman over 3 last night with 2 more strikeouts. Is there something that you can see changing with them soon? And have you been able to speak to Gorman and Nootbaar about their struggles?
Yeah, I talked to Gorman a while back. You're coming out of the All-Star break. I had a long talk with him, and he was really hoping that he could use the All-Star break as a refresh and start over. Quite honestly, I was shocked that Gorman was in the starting lineup last night. Like, if you look at it, after last night, he is now 1 for 14 with 10 strikeouts against Hunter Green. Like, it wasn't just last night. Like, it's been his whole career against Hunter Green has been terrible. Usually Ollie, leans on those matchups and keeps the guy out of the lineup. But last night he put him in there, and it wasn't pretty. The first at bats were 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 as far as strikes, and he was out of there. Lars. As far as Lars, I personally think that Lars takes too many pitches. I think it's taken away his aggressiveness. He doesn't want to swing at pitches out of the zone. That's admirable, but the Cardinals need Lars Nootbaar to drive the baseball. They need him to hit doubles in the gap. They need him to drive the ball out of the park. They don't need him to walk as much. Yes, it's admirable to have a high on-base percentage and not swing at pitches out of the zone, but it can't zap your aggressiveness and you take too many pitches and that sort of thing. So I'd like to see Lars be more aggressive. I'd like to see Nolan Gorman cut down on his swing a little bit and try to, hit the ball in the gaps instead of trying to hit everything out of the ballpark. And, like you said, those 2 guys are really struggling right now, and that's a big part of why the Cardinals haven't produced offensively the way they thought they would.
Is there any talk, John, with Nolan Gorman to maybe give him a reset and send him back down to the minor leagues?
Yeah, that's definitely been talked about. I think about a month ago that was very close to happening, and they backed off of it. I would not be shocked, Danny, if that did happen. I think he would be relieved right now. He's got to try something different. His rookie year, as you remember, he was hot and cold, and they sent him down at the end of the year, and he came back in 23 like gangbusters. So right now, that may be something that's back on the table. It's been talked about. Like I said, about a month ago, they went away from it and kept him up here. But at some point, you may have to pull the plug and let him try to figure this out in a less pressurized situation.
John, there's 6 weeks left in this season, and it doesn't look good. If the Cardinals don't make the playoffs this year, and let me put it this way, if they have another losing season for the first time since the 50s in a full season, if they would have another losing season, would you anticipate that there would be changes at the top?
Last night, Randy, I was thinking going into the last game of last season, Ollie Marmol told us, he said, if we don't get this thing turned around before, by next season, something will have gone badly wrong. And he knows, John Mozeliak knows, you're not allowed to rebuild in St. Louis. You're not allowed to have a prolonged struggle like this. Do I think there will be changes? Yes, of course I do. I've covered, professional sports for 30 years. This is what happens when you don't win. There are always changes, and who knows how far they go? Who knows if it's Mo that steps aside? Who knows if there's a managerial change? But history always tells you that if things aren't going right, there probably will be changes.
John, it leads me to this, and I know we're getting really far down the road, but I am curious if you have talked to Paul Goldschmidt about just how important it may be for him to finish his career in St. Louis and what they may look like.
Yeah, Goldie's a very prideful guy, and I think he wants to be here. He's a guy who does not talk about his contract, but I know he doesn't want to go out like this. He does want to finish his career here, but he's not going to, pin himself into that corner. He's not going to be, just St. Louis. I think he wants to. I think he wants to play a couple more years, from what I've understood. But this season's really taking a toll on him. He can't figure it out. I mean, Danny, it's August, and he has 4 extra base hits with runners in scoring position all season. 2 years ago, he was the best player on the planet. Now he has 4 extra base hits with running in scoring position. It's shocking to everyone.
It really is.
Yeah. Hey, John, Brooke Grimsley tells us every day how much she misses playing pickleball with and against you. So she's looking forward to you being back. Are you guys playing tomorrow on the off day?
I'm scheduled to play tomorrow night, and they're in a different group, so I don't want Brooke to feel like I'm leaving her out or anything.
You've played doubleheaders before?
Yeah, there's another group?
Yeah, well, there's all kind of groups.
Wow. Okay, I see how it is, John.
Hey, John, have a great day in Cincinnati. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. We'll see you when the Cardinals are back home here on this homestand.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks. You too, John. John Denton, MLB.com, covers the Cardinals. You just go to Cardinals.com and read his great work there.
That man plays pickleball every single day. Even during the trip, he was sending in our group chat that we have for all the pickleballers here in town, which you guys are more than welcome to join, by the way. It's an open invitation. Anybody can join.
I want to keep my Achilles tendon. Thank you.
Oh, come on.
Trying to keep my meniscus.
But he was sending us photos of him playing in Cincinnati. So he plays just about every single day.
That's fantastic. Coming up, we've got the fight. Matthew, do you need a fighter?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then all you need to do is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Maybe you've been trying for a while, and we're looking for a fighter. So text in your name and the word fight, and maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
That's a
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Gotta change my oil.
How about Valvoline Restore and Protect? It restores and protects your engine to run like new.
Get in zone. It restores your engine to like factory clean?
And protects.
Get in zone. So Valvoline Restore and Protect restores and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, if you want to have the best wings in St. Louis, you need to go to the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's 2 minutes away from the soccer park, and I'm a regular at the Fenton Bar and Grill, as you know, and I love their trashed wings. I order them on a regular basis. Why? Because they're the best wings in town. They're the best wings I've had, and they're the best wings that you'll have, too. You stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill and say hi to Kelly, say hi to Megan, say hi to Casey. The whole gang over there are such sweethearts, and they'll treat you very, very well. They're a fun group, and they serve great food, whether it's the wings or the salads or the sandwiches or the burgers. Everything over there, the wraps, everything is fantastic. And it's called A Dive with a Vibe. They've got sports on every TV. You'll be talking sports with your friends, and you'll be having a great time at the Fenton Bar and Grill. You always have a great time at the Fenton Bar and Grill, whether it's lunch today and the weather is spectacular in St. Louis for the next week. Maybe you want to stop by after golf or for a happy hour or perhaps a great dinner. The Fenton Bar and Grill is the place to go. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com, and when you get there, tell them Randy sent you.
Summertime is the best time to enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and Pella replacement windows. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050.
Text us anytime at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals yesterday fall again to the Cincinnati Reds, 4-1. Eric Fedde in his start, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 home runs allowed. Cardinals will try to escape Cincinnati without getting swept tonight with a 5:40 first pitch. It'll be Kyle Gibson facing off against what looks like a bullpen start for the Reds, as Emilio Pagan is scheduled to make the start. He's 2-3 on the season with a 4.22 ERA through just 21 1/3 innings pitched so far. Last night, St. Louis City SC also falls, this time to Club America in the round of 16 of the League's Cup. They will now have 10 days off before they return to MLS action on August 24th when they travel to face off against the Portland Timbers. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American-owned heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN, brought to you by Sumner One.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, Randy, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Kirk. Kirk, how are you doing this morning?
Good. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
Yeah, and I'm terrified.
Oh, no. Don't be terrified. Dan, do you have some encouraging words for the nerves?
As I always say, get the puck deep, take the body, get in the greasy areas, and don't worry about it. Just have a little fun with it. I've got faith in you, Kirk.
I appreciate it. That's my hope.
All right. Hopefully the advice comes through and you take down Randall. We're about to find out.
Trust your gut. All right, here's question number 1, Kirk. When Doc Ellis pitched in his drug-addled no-hitter for the Pirates in 1970, against which California team did he face? Was it the Angels, the Padres, or the Giants?
Geez. Total guess, the Giants.
There are 5 players in NBA history to win both 3 regular season and 3 finals MVPs. Who is the only center to do that? Was it Kareem, Moses Malone, or Shaq?
Kareem.
Final answer?
Yes, final answer.
All right, question 3.
After growing up in St. Louis and attending Beaumont High School, Earl Weaver was signed by his hometown Cardinals, never making it to the majors. What position did Weaver play before eventually turning to management? Was it second base, shortstop, or center field?
Oh, geez. I'm thinking second base sounds reasonable.
Reasonable it is. Okay, question 4. Since Nolan Ryan did it in 1973, only one pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball has thrown multiple no-hitters in the same regular season, doing it across the 2015 campaign. Which pitcher is it? Jake Arrieta, Homer Bailey, or Max Scherzer?
Oh, geez. I'm thinking Jake Arrieta. He had some stellar season right around that time, so I'm going to go with Arrieta.
All right, that's your final answer. Let me go grab Randall Carricker.
How are you feeling, Kirk?
I was excited about the NBA question, and then I got 3 baseball questions, so not too excited, unfortunately.
Big NBA fan?
Yeah, across the board, but hopeful that my guesses maybe hit the mark. Who knows?
Sorry, Kirk. If I put multiple NBA questions in one fight, I get zapped. So there's a little chip in the back of my neck.
I get it. Like I said, I was just hopeful for basketball or football, but that's okay.
I just want you to know I'm not the one that controls that chip.
Who's controlling it?
I don't know. I don't have it.
No, that's a different chip. The women's basketball and non-sports chip is a different chip. You definitely control that one. The jolt's a little heavier, too.
Yeah, it is.
Randy, say hi to Kirk.
Kirk, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Randy?
Doing well. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for playing with us today. We appreciate it.
Ready for question number 1?
Thank you.
Ready. Yes.
Okay. When Doc Ellis pitched his drug-addled no-hitter for the Pirates in 1970, against which California team did he face?
He pitched for the Pirates. For some reason, okay. I don't know. I guess he did pitch for Oakland. So if it was a California team, it had to be either San Francisco, which I'm going to go with, the Doyers, or the Padres. I'm going to go with the Giants here.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right. Question 2. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
There are 5 players in NBA history to win both 3 regular season and 3 finals MVPs.
5 of them.
Who is the only center, though, to do that?
3 regular season and 3 finals most valuable players.
That's correct.
Okay. I don't... Kareem obviously had the 5 MVPs in the regular season. He had an MVP with Milwaukee in the finals, and I think he had 1 with the Lakers. I don't know if Shaq got 3 regular season MVPs. Wilt never did. He wasn't a finals MVP 3 times. So this is some Lakers guys. Hold on here. Can you
Hold
repeat
the phone?
Can you repeat the question
Sure.
for me once? Thanks.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
There are 5 players in NBA history to win both 3 regular season and 3 finals MVPs. Who is the only center to do it?
I'm going to go with Bill Russell.
Final answer, Randall?
Yes.
On to question 3.
After growing up in St. Louis and attending Beaumont High School, Earl Weaver was signed by his hometown Cardinals, never making it to the majors. Which position did Weaver play before eventually turning to management?
He looked like an infielder to me. I'm going to say he was a second baseman.
Is that just a wild guess, or did you know that?
It's just a wild guess.
All right.
Actually, I may have heard it in the past somewhere. So it might, in the recesses of my mind, Daniel, it might be there somewhere.
Okay. Well, you do retain a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I remember stuff that I don't even know is in there. Seriously. Sometimes I remember stuff that didn't happen.
Are you ready for question 4?
I am.
Since Nolan Ryan did it in 1973, only one pitcher in Major League Baseball history has thrown multiple no-hitters in the same regular season, doing it across the 2015 campaign. Which pitcher is it?
Okay, I think I know this, but I'm going to do the lifeline.
You got Jake Arrieta.
No.
Homer Bailey.
I think it was him.
Max Scherzer.
I'm going to go with Homer Bailey.
Final answer?
Yeah, I was looking at guys. I know that he threw 2 consecutive hitters in Major League Baseball. Like there was a point where the last 2 no-hitters that have been thrown in baseball were Homer Bailey. So I'm going to go with him. I don't know if it was separate years, but I'm going with him.
We have a no-hitters theme, and usually what we do is Matthew hands me the questions, and I always just say, Bob Gibson.
Yep.
Well, Bob Gibson threw a no-hitter in this date in baseball
August
history.
14th, 1971.
Against the Pirates.
Did not have a question for that.
He was 35 at the time. Just take a guess how many pitches he threw at the age of 35 to get his no-hitter.
I'm going to go 124, Dan.
124 it is.
Okay.
Now, is that one of those useless pieces of information that you remember?
It is.
Yeah.
You're like a sponge.
That would have been a good trivia question, except you got it right off the bat. What's wrong with you?
He'd done everything else in the book.
Yeah, he had.
We have to go to a tiebreaker, by the way.
Okay.
Here are the rules for the tiebreaker. Kirk, I'm going to read out the question. We're going to give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his answer. We'll then get your answer audibly. We will confirm Randy Carricker's answer. And then whoever is closest to the pin is walking away as the winner of today's fight. Do you understand those rules, Kirk?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Randy Carricker, do you understand those rules?
I do. I've even got my Lindenwood paper
Do you
here.
have paper? Yeah, you have paper.
Go Lions.
Do you have a pen?
I have a pen. I have
All right, here we go.
We've got a helmet, a Lindenwood helmet.
Right back there. During this Olympic run, Kevin Durant became the leading scorer in U.S. men's basketball history. How many total points has he scored through 28 career Olympic matches? During this Olympic run, Kevin Durant became the leading scorer in U.S. men's basketball Olympic history. How many total points has he scored through 28 career Olympic matches? We have a guess from Randy Carricker. And Kirk, what is your guess, sir?
I'm going to say 482.
You have guessed 482. Randy Carricker, what is your guess, sir?
I said 522.
All right, 522. So I will let you guys know, between the 40 points in your guesses, the answer is somewhere in the middle there. So who is closer, the 482 from Kirk or the 522 from Randy Carricker? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
Okay, before people text in, didn't we do this question during the Olympics? Basically, how many points does Kevin Durant have right now? And I lost that one.
Did you lose that one?
Yeah.
I might have been listening that day. It might have been Thursday last week.
That's right. Brad
might have been Thursday last week.
That's exactly what it was.
It's been repeated.
Looked at a different tiebreaker I had written down for his, so I didn't want to reuse that one. I didn't realize I didn't write down a second tiebreaker. My apologies to that one.
So that's why I
is it going to be justice? Should we do justice for Kirk?
No way.
Yes, justice for Kirk.
I think maybe we should do justice for Kirk.
Justice for Kirk. Justice.
That's a slip up on my part. I had Bradford's questions written down. I did not write down his. I didn't know there was something on the YouTube chat. I did not write down his first of his two tiebreakers. I wrote down his second one to make sure I didn't reuse that one. I missed his first one apparently, and that's my apologies. By the way, you got very close. I guess this is the reason Kirk also got very close. It's 518. You guessed 522. Kirk guessed 482. This one's a little bit out of my hands. I'm gonna have to give this one to. I'm gonna have to give this one to Congress.
Do you have another one here? Do you have another tiebreaker on you right now?
I actually do have another tiebreaker on me.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do another tiebreaker. Kirk, you okay with doing another tiebreaker?
Whatever works is fine by me.
All right, let's go with another tiebreaker. We had a question about him earlier, and I wanted to put the question in because I did not actually know until today that Earl Weaver was a St. Louis native who went to Beaumont High School. So the question there is pretty easy. We've done ones like this before. We'll just do it with Earl Weaver. How many career wins did he have as a manager? And I will give you a little bit of a guessing framework. He managed all or parts of 17 seasons in Major League Baseball. All or parts of 17 seasons in Major League Baseball. Randy, do you want to amend your numbers there at all?
Nope.
Can I see it again, please, then? Thank you very much, sir. All right, Kirk.
So Randy guessed. I'm not going to say it.
No, I thought you were about to say it.
I wasn't going to say it.
Kirk, what's the guess for us, sir?
1528.
All right, 1528 is the guess for Kirk. Randy Carricker, what is your guess today, sir?
I said 1932.
All right, the amended tiebreaker for today, Earl Weaver, St. Louis native. Never made it to the majors for his Cardinals, but he did become a manager for 17 years. How many total wins did he have in his managerial career? 1528 is the guess from Kirk. 1932 is the guess from Randy Carricker. And we have a winner in today's fight for the second time today. Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis. With the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
There we go with a tiebreaker that hasn't been asked in the last 4 days. Kirk got that one. Earl Weaver finished his career 1480 and 1060, 1,480 wins, 1,060 losses for Earl Weaver, and of course 4 pennants and 1 World Series title for the St. Louis native. Kirk, you got closer there with 1528 in that guess. My apologies for the mistake on the first tiebreaker. Good fight today as you tied Randy Carricker and then won it in the second tiebreaker.
Great.
Don't me, Danny Mac. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Kirk. Let's go through the questions and answers today. When Doc Ellis pitched his drug-addled no-hitter for the Pirates in 1970, he was facing off against the San Diego Padres. He would walk 8 Padres within that no-hitter, but he would eventually pull it off. He was working on a little LSD that night. There are 5 players in NBA history to win both 3 regular season MVPs and 3 finals MVPs. The only center to do it is, in fact, Shaquille O'Neal, who went 3 by 3. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 6 regular season MVPs and 2 finals MVPs. My favorite part about this stat is that there's one guy for each position. Magic Johnson did it as a point guard. Michael Jordan did it as a shooting guard. LeBron James did it as a small forward. Tim Duncan did it as a power forward. Shaquille O'Neal did it as a center. There's your best ever starting 5 in NBA history. After growing up in STL and attending Beaumont High School, Earl Weaver was signed by his hometown Cardinals. He was, in fact, a slapstick hitting second baseman, a very good defender, but that never got him to the majors. And since Nolan Ryan did it in 1973, it is Max Scherzer, the only pitcher to have multiple no-hitters in the same season. He had his across June 20th and August 3rd of 2015. Jake Arrieta had his 2 across August 30th, and April 21st of 15 and then 16. Homer Bailey's 2 no-hitters came across September 28th of 2012 and then July 2nd of 2013. But again, Scherzer, the only one to do it in the same regular season. By the way, one other stat there I want people to know, Holliday technically did it in the same year in 2010, but his was regular season and then postseason. So a 1-1 tie for Randy Carricker and Kirk today in the fight, and then a winner for Kirk in the tiebreaker. Thank you again, Kirk, for joining the fight and joining the show.
Thanks so much. It was a lot of fun.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, a couple of people think that Mizzou football is cool now. Some important people. That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's Randy, and when it comes time to sell your home, you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent. Take it from me and get to know St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's why you should call. Gloria's name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria's going to make it so easy for you. When you give her a call at 314-325-6888, she'll walk you through the process, whatever direction you want to take to sell your home. She'll have multiple options for you so that you can get the most for your home. And you can sell it right off the bat and maybe even stay in it for up to 12 months. Gloria Liu is not an average agent. She's St. Louis local real estate authority with 20 years of experience, hundreds of homes sold in just the past 12 months. And the only agent I'd trust to sell my home is Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888 or at gloriahasthebuyers.com. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. To learn more, visit gloriahasthebuyers.com.
You got to give a lot of credit to Drink. Drink is the one who's made it cool to play at Missouri. Drink is the one who's made it cool for the St. Louis kids to be here. He's done a lot of great things. He's done some things that haven't been done before. And I think he's done an excellent job of not only making St. Louis, I shouldn't say a priority because I think it's always been a priority, but kind of getting those kids acclimated, making sure they all have some type of role on the team. I think that he's done a tremendous job. So Drink has turned out to probably be the coolest guy out of the St. Louis guys, even though he's not from St. Louis.
That's former Luther North coach Carl Reed of 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports talking about the great job that Eli Drinkwitz has done in getting players from the St. Louis area to go to Mizzou. And the most important thing you can do when you're talking to 16 and 17-year-old youngsters is to get them to think something is cool. And I think that it says a lot for Eli Drinkwitz that he has, and Mizzou is already pretty cool with the helmets and the jerseys and the crowds when things are going good. But now, for those football players, the entire atmosphere around Mizzou football is cool, and people know it.
It's exciting because you're seeing Eli Drinkwitz really revive a program. And to your point about Missouri kids and specifically St. Louis kids, he's really built the backbone of this program because of Missouri kids. He is doing everything right when you're looking at college coaching and what it is now. He has the sweet spot of local recruiting, transfer portal management, which is another huge part of it, of really bringing in things that they might need or might need a supplement while staying ahead of the curve on the NIL front. And that's something that's really important now. When you're talking about the excitement factor, it might sound silly, but to young kids, we all know you guys have had teenagers. I know that Dan, you have teenagers currently. Randy, you had teenagers. things that we might think are insignificant are really important to them, like what cool stuff you have. They call it like swag in recruiting, right? What's available to these players, and now Mizzou is continuing to grow that. Eli Drinkwitz will wear the cool shoes. He has the cool car, and he seems to be able to resonate with younger players, and they're enjoying to play for him. I just really like that when he came in, and I'm sure that you guys were, I think, there for the press conference of when he first spoke. When he came in, he made a promise that he would recruit heavily here in Missouri and made a promise to recruit heavily in St. Louis, and he has stuck to his word.
I think he's got 25 metro area players, and that's amazing to get that many kids to stick around. I think I'm correct with that, looking at the roster just the other day, not even knowing we're going to talk about this. But I think, Brooke, you hit it on the head, is that the alumni base has stepped up with NIL. And you can be as cool as you want and have the car and have the shoes and be a slick talker, which I think is all great. But if your alumni base can step up with NIL and get kids paid, that's where I'm going. I mean, if you're a kid, you're saying, look, and some of these kids don't come from easy backgrounds, and they're saying, I need to do this for myself and my family. If you can do that through NIL, which he has done, and help that out, and they're ahead of the curve in many ways with that, I think you're going to get a lot of kids.
I love going over to Schnucks, too. I went by just yesterday, and what do I see there? I see those cookies that, Randy, that we had that they were brought in that one day for Mizzou NIL, and then you see the Luther Burden chips right there all over the store, and just seeing Luther Burden, his journey from East St. Louis, he was such a talented player at East St. Louis. I remember the first time I saw him play in high school, I was like, oh, yeah, he is going to be spectacular, and the fact that he has stayed with Mizzou, which in this day and age, loyalty really doesn't mean much with the transfer portal, right? It really doesn't. But Luther Burden has stayed with the program, and look how much it's paid off for him and for Eli Drinkwitz in Mizzou.
Yeah, I do think that the coolest thing about Mizzou for the kids is the money. And as Nick Saban said when he left, that's all players want to know about. But here's the thing. They're getting the money at Mizzou, and then he's getting them to play. And last year, the perfect example, hopefully they'll be able to do it again this year. But I don't think anybody understands that this is a business where the players have power more than Eli Drinkwitz, and then he gives the players power. He has since day one, since he arrived on the scene. He gives them ownership of the club, and that makes a big difference.
It's the minor leagues for the NFL now, and they're getting paid. If you're good enough, you're going to get paid through NIL. I also think a factor is going to a kid and say, do you want to play in the best conference in college football? Do you want to go head-to-head and find out just how good you are? Do you want to compete? And if you compete at a high level, there's a really good chance you're going on to the next level. If you can play in the SEC and be a high-end player, you're going to get a look, and I think that's part of the allure of going to Mizzou. It's one of the great moves they made, and Mike Alden did it, moving the to the conference of the SEC. And I think that's a big part of it too.
Boy, did they get lucky landing in the SEC, no doubt about it.
No kidding.
Could have been the Mountain West.
It's such a smart move, and what they've done. If I'm a kid and I'm that good to go play Division I football and play for the number 11 team in the country, I'm saying I want to face the best. Give me the best. I want to know how good I am. I want to get paid, but I want to know how good I am too.
And with the 12-team playoff format, that just really opens up the window of opportunity for the players and for Mizzou, because now you know that you have a real shot to be able to do something, especially with their schedule this season. I know we've talked about that at length, but this is a really good schedule for Mizzou where they can get off to a great start going into SEC play.
And amazingly, the season starts just in a couple of weeks, August 29th. It's August 14th right now. So we're 15 days away from the Mizzou opener on Thursday night, August 29th against Murray State at Faurot Field. And you can get tickets now for Mizzou and Murray State. Coming up, the Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. The Cardinals dropping back-to-back games in Cincinnati after falling to the Reds 4-1 last night. For the second night in a row, the Cardinals were held to just one run coming from a Nolan Arenado solo shot. Eric Fetty went 6 innings, giving up 4 runs and 6 hits and striking out 2. He allowed both of Cincinnati's home runs. The Cardinals saw their season record fall back to 500. Kyle Gibson will get the start tonight as the Cardinals tried to avoid being swept in the 3-game series against the Reds. First pitch is at 5:40.
The Redbird report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, we're closing in on our last summer holiday of the summer, and that means you need to start thinking about what you're going to do for Labor Day, and you need to head on over to Schnucks and make sure that you have your feast set up, your barbecue for Labor Day and Labor Day weekend set up. And here's a cool thing about Schnucks right now. Download the Schnucks Rewards app, and you can get personal double points days, so you can earn 4% back on your entire cart. So download it today. Take advantage of that coupon. Use it when you need to, maybe right before Labor Day, and you will have the opportunity to have a fabulous feast and get money back when you buy it. I'm always telling you about how great the program is, and the Schnucks Rewards program is now personal. They have refreshed the program and added more personalized touches with new perks just for you, and you get those personalized savings that are basically custom deals on the items that you buy most. Plus, you'll get a free freshly baked donut on your birthday. How cool is that? If you're already a member, you'll start seeing these benefits in your Rewards app, and if not, now's the perfect time to sign up. Just download the Schnucks Rewards app to get started today.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because it really feels like I've joined a community. I love going over to the West location, having lunch over there, getting a buffalo chicken wrap, maybe even some sweet potato fries to go with it, and then also going over there to play some tennis with Scott, work out with my personal trainer, Christine. I love it so much. They always provide such a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:08 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Following last night's 4-1 loss to Cincinnati, the Cardinals' third loss in a row, they'll wrap up their series at the So-So American Ballpark tonight, and they will pitch our buddy Kyle Gibson. That's why he's not on the show today, because he's pitching today. Last time he came on with us when he was pitching.
We don't have to say
Didn't
that.
go well, though, did it?
No, it didn't. So,
it was the opposite of an opening drive up, huh?
Yeah, so he'll come on with us tomorrow when the Cardinals have an off day. Tonight, the Cardinals will pitch Kyle Gibson against Emilio Pagan, the devil of the Reds. That's another 5:40 game. And then the Cardinals off tomorrow, and then they come home with 3 against the Dodgers, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday off, 3 against the Brewers. They go to Minnesota for 3. Minnesota would be in the playoffs that they started today. Come home with 4 against the Padres, the National League wildcard leading Padres. Then they go to New York to take on the AL East leading Yankees for 3. Then they go to NL Central leading Milwaukee for 3 before coming home to take on the Mariners and the Reds.
So those are all really good teams, you're saying?
Yeah, the schedule is brutal for the next couple of weeks.
They won't play another team with a losing record until September 10th. So when you talk about this series with the Reds and how important it was, I know that we keep saying that. Every series is very important, especially with where they're at right now, but you needed to build some momentum. We kept talking about that before starting the rest of that schedule because, I mean, that's a gauntlet of teams that you're going to have to face that are very, very talented.
And the Cardinals need to figure out how to score some runs. And Hunter Green last night was fantastic. If you're a fan of baseball, which I am, he was awesome. If you're a Cardinal fan, you're saying, how are the Cardinals going to get some offense going? They didn't do it last night. And since the All-Star game, Runners in scoring position, the second worst batting average. They're worst in the National League with RISP in slugging percentage, and overall in August, they're 130. So, you start looking at some of the numbers, they don't add up in a positive way, and those are glaring right now for the Cardinals in trying to score some runs.
What do you guys prefer between Hunter Green and Kelly Green? Hunter Green is kind of like the Michigan State green, isn't it?
I'm lost.
It's a color.
The Hunter Green,
Hunter Green is...
Kelly Green feels like it's a little bit deeper, right?
Yeah. I think I would go with Kelly Green over Hunter Green. I take Hunter Green the pitcher, but Kelly Green because Kelly Green can also be a pitcher. I would take Kelly Green the color, Hunter Green the pitcher.
Oh my gosh, Randy.
Maybe the Packers. Packers green is Hunter Green.
Fighting Irish?
I like the main green color.
That's Kelly Green. That's Irish. Yeah.
What is the main green color?
Tulane? No, North Texas main green. I don't know what. That's like a bright green.
It's kind of brightish, but it's not neon, obviously. But it's kind of a nice, bright spring green.
Yeah.
I'm not good at color categories or names.
I'm not
for all
either,
this
clearly.
Stuff. Not great at it whatsoever.
Hey, good news out of Detroit. We were worried that Jahmyr Gibbs would miss the season, but apparently he's just got a hamstring, and Dan Campbell, their head coach, saying Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fine.
Okay,
so they don't need to get another running back.
Whew. All right. Fantasy football fans, rejoice if you were thinking about picking him up. Now, there wasn't great news, though, about J.J. McCarthy, though.
No, he has a torn meniscus. He'll undergo knee surgery. Sam Darnold will be the Vikings starter. And now, I don't know if this is revisionist history, but all of the Vikings people are saying, he was never going to, McCarthy, he was never going to start for us anyway. We were going to let him sit and let Darnold start.
There was a lot of people that thought if he had a good camp that he may be the guy coming out of camp talking about McCarthy even ahead of Sam Darnold.
He's the most pro-ready quarterback of the guys that were drafted because of who he played under at Michigan. And I would think that he would have had a chance to start the opener for them. It would have made sense.
And I know that Harbaugh was obviously his coach, so he will say nice things about him, but I don't know. I think that I would have to agree with his assessment that McCarthy looked really good going into the NFL. Now you have this huge setback. I guess we'll see what Sam Darnold does.
Maybe Sam Darnold will finally find it after getting coached by Kyle Shanahan last year. Remember when he came out, whoever the coach was at USC, wasn't it him? Maybe it was somebody else where they said he was coming out too early. But Sam Darnold was put in a bad spot right off the bat by going to the Jets right out of college. And then he winds up at Carolina where they had a disaster. And maybe San Francisco was a good thing for him. And when he played for the Niners last year, he was pretty good. Maybe he just needed to sit and learn.
What do you think of that Eric Fetty last night?
He was pretty good.
I thought he was fine.
Yeah, it was just fine.
Yeah, he's baseball circa 2024.
Get you 5 or 6, keep you in the game, 4 runs allowed.
Yeah.
You're anticipating that you could score more than 4? Go ahead, Rocc.
I'd like to see a little bit more than a 2 walk, 2 strikeout, 2 home run line.
Yeah, but that's kind of like Randy said, though. That's what you get. Now, you'd like to see more strikeouts. Mm-hmm. But as long as he gets ground balls, he's going to have a chance to play with his stuff. And I would think coming over from the White Sox, he should be better because the defense is better. And if he gets a lot of ground ball, like the shortstop defense with the White Sox is awful, center field awful. Should be better as he plays here in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, it was just fine. The story, though, is just going to continue to be offense because even with that, when you only are able to have 1 run in back-to-back nights, I mean, that's just, I don't know what else to say about it. It's inexcusable.
99% of the time or more, if a pitcher's number is below 22, he's not going to be very good. 99% of the time.
Where did you find that fact? On Baseball Reference? Oh, up in Megamind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there are some. Dwight Gooden is an aberration. Marcus Stroman is an outlier. But for the most part, you're going to have Mike Leakes. You're going to have you're going to have guys that just are not good if they have low numbers like 12 as a starting pitcher.
So in this rush hour reset, you've gone from colors to numbers. That's a hell of a reset.
Yeah. We've reset everything. Yes, Matthew.
What if I wear 00 as a pitcher? Have I broken the system? Is that technically count as me?
So we've got Omar Olivares.
Yep.
Okay.
Who would fit the mold of not being
yes.
very good with a number below 22. That 0-0 is definitely a number below 22.
I thought maybe getting a second digit in there would kind of break the mold.
Watch Jack Flaherty. He's not going to be great wearing number 0 for the Doyers.
You don't think so?
No.
Here's a question. Do you think he stays with L.A.?
No.
Sign somewhere else?
Yeah, the Dodgers don't have room for him. They're getting Ohtani back. They've got Yamamoto. They've got Buehler, although he's a free agent. Buehler back, but then they get Dustin May back next year. They get Gonsolin back next year. There's somebody good right now. Oh, Glasnow. They don't have room for Flaherty.
It's incredible.
I bet he
Did
wants
you mention
to stay,
May?
though.
Yeah. He'll be back next year.
Yeah.
And there's another veteran that I'm missing. Plus, Gavin Stone has pitched really well for them.
What do you do with Kershaw?
This is it for him. I would think that he'll be done. But hold on, there was one other Doyer. They're loaded. They're absolutely unbelievably loaded. And Gratterall got hurt, one of the relievers the other night. He came back and he got hurt. Okay, here we go. But we tend to forget about Ohtani, right? But Ohtani and Yamamoto at the top of that rotation. So you've got Glasnow, Stone, Yamamoto, Buehler. Oh, Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller's the other one I left off, yeah. Plus River Ryan got off to a good start for them, has a 1.33 earned run average in 4 starts. And Michael Grove has pitched reasonably well for them at times. So they've got a lot of guys, and I don't think that it'll make sense for them to give Flaherty the kind of contract that he would command at this, and he would command it at this point. Flaherty has pitched well for the Doyers, but I don't think that he's because he's not under contract already. I don't think he fits.
314. No need to watch Sesame Street anymore. We just need to listen to Randy to learn our colors and numbers.
We appeal to every demographic here.
There you go.
On 101 ESPN. All right. So there's your rush hour reset. Coming up, Jeremy Rutherford talking about the Blues moves next on 101 ESPN. Hey, our friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck have been locally owned and operated for 56 years under the same ownership. They do fantastic work. As a matter of fact, I got my fence from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. I love the work that they did. I love the people that I work with, and you will love working with Chesterfield Fence and Deck too. You can see what they do by going to their website, chesterfieldfence.com, or you can just stop by their beautiful facility in Chesterfield Valley, and you can see some of the things that they have, the fences and decks, the different types that they have, pergolas and sunrooms and screen rooms. They will show you everything that you want to see in terms of a home improvement for your home. And you can count on Chesterfield Fence and Deck because they provide the best and longest lasting outdoor products available, and they have skilled installation teams that carry out a mission to be the very best in customer service and quality craftsmanship. Chesterfield Fence and Deck will give you 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project when you purchase and tell them that you heard about them from Randy Carricker. It's a pretty good deal. Their number, 800-300-4054, on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. live on 101 ESPN, and the Blues made some moves yesterday, and we thought we'd talk about it with our buddy, the Blues insider for 101 ESPN from The Athletic, the one, the only Jeremy Rutherford. Good morning, sir. How you doing? JR?
Morning, gang. Doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Hey, were you surprised yesterday? What was your level of surprise when the Blues announced the offer sheets to Broberg and Holloway?
Well, I have to admit, surprised, shocked. Not that Broberg and Holloway received offer sheets from a team around the league. I think that was something that's kind of been talked about. And also, if you go back to June, I tweeted the comment from Doug Armstrong yesterday after this happened. He told us back in June offer sheets were something that he was going to explore. I think where the shock comes in is that it was two offer sheets on the same day offered to the same team. It's almost like if they had a couple other restricted, Doug would have offered them two offer sheets. But, I mean, guys, just this type of news doesn't happen in August. The way the restricted free agency calendar sets up, it can happen in August just based on free agency opening July 1st, and then several weeks have to go by before these players talk to their teams. Do they get an offer from the Oilers that they like? If they do, they sign it. And if they don't, then they hold out for an offer sheet. And Doug Armstrong, like he told us, pounced yesterday.
JR, what do you think the likelihood is that they're able to land both Broberg and Holloway?
Yeah, it's a tough one to read because these are two young players who can help the Oilers down the road, but we know that they went to the Stanley Cup final this year and lost to Florida, so they're a little more down the road in terms of being a competitive team than the Blues are right now. They brought in a lot of veterans, and they do have some depth. They brought in some veterans this offseason. So what do they think about potentially losing a couple young guys who could help in the future? That's what they're deciding right now. And, oh, by the way, they have a new general manager, Stan Bowman, who's only been on the job for a few weeks. So he, I'm sure, has been doing his homework even before he got the job on the Oilers, has a good feel for what they want to do. But not to throw a bunch of numbers at you, I'm sure you've read them yesterday and today, but the Oilers, if they match these two contracts by the Blues, they are $7.2 million over the salary cap. You can go 10% over the cap in the offseason, so they're within that 10%. They can match both of these offers and then figure out who else they could move and try to keep both of these guys. But here's the situation. The Blues kind of overpaid for each of these players a bit, kind of projecting their future. I don't think Broberg would have got what he got, $4.58 million from some other teams. Same with Holloway. They weren't going to get that kind of money from the Oilers. Now the Blues have put the Oilers in a jam doing both of these contracts at the same exact time because now the Oilers have to match. Do they want to overpay for both of these guys to keep them? That's where I think that it could get a little sticky, and the Blues could get one or both of these guys.
You've been covering Doug a long time. I'm curious, is this as shrewd a move that Doug Armstrong has ever made?
Danny, we're always thinking on the same wavelength here. I was going to ask you guys, let's go through Doug's history here and put the two or three top shrewd moves on a list and pick the one that's probably the most shrewd. And I was trying to come up with some examples as you guys were calling me. I'm thinking you're trading Eric Johnson. That's got to be on the list. I realize that, looking back now, that wasn't, a blockbuster, but at the time it was. At the time, you don't trade the number one overall pick. That's a big one. I think I got to put the Ryan O'Reilly trade definitely on my list, and I think that's going to be at the top. They don't win the Stanley Cup without that move. And, by the way, when you're able to move a Saboka, a Berglund, granted Tage Thompson developed into a good player and a first-round pick that didn't amount to much, and it wins you a Stanley Cup, that's got to be number one on the list. And I think you guys can add to the list here, but the Shen trade, getting rid of Yori Laterra to bring in Braden Shen's on that list. And now this one. The only hang-up with this one is it might not materialize, but it's still shrewd.
The other one that I was thinking of, JR, in terms of just sheer shrewdness, was moving the Chris Stewart contract in the trade for Ryan Miller. They knew that Halak wasn't going to be back. He didn't want to be here. And if Miller succeeded, they could re-sign him. If he didn't succeed here, they knew that they could go get Paul Stastny. So there was a plan in place when they made the Halak trade. And part of what made it really brilliant was being able to move the Chris Stewart contract.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's always a vision, I think, when it comes to those big moves that Doug pulls off. And like I wrote yesterday at The Athletic, a lot of times this information doesn't get out. And when these moves happen, you just sit there stunned, just like we were with the Eric Johnson move, just like we were with the Ryan O'Reilly. Even though it had been talked about, that move, the components of that trade were still pretty alarming that he was able to pull that off. And if he's able to get one or both of these guys too, I think this will be in the top 5 on that list we talked about.
Okay, JR, we're using the word shrewd here, and I think it's perfect. And you can explain this to people that don't understand. Why did they offer Broberg $4,580,917 a year? Why not offer him $4,580,918 a year?
I'm going to answer that, but first, I thought you were going to ask me to spell shrewd, and I got to admit, I had a lot of trouble yesterday. Every time I went to write that word, a shrewd move by Doug Armstrong. How the heck do you spell that word again? But the reason they did that is because every year when the NHL announces its salary numbers, what they do is they put out a list that if teams make an offer sheet to another team like the Blues did yesterday, they got to set a table for what the compensation is going to be. And so the dollar amount that they offered Broberg is the exact dollar amount, the maximum dollar amount that the Blues will only have to give up a second-round pick. If it was more money than that, they'd have to give up more compensation. So it's precise to the dollar exactly how much they pay Broberg is what the compensation level dictates for what they'll have to give the Edmonton Oilers, and that's going to be a second-round pick. And the same is for Holloway. His value of the contract is the maximum for a third-round pick. And then you guys know that yesterday the Blues made that trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins to acquire the right draft compensation to be able to pay Edmonton in the event that they don't match.
And that's because they have to use their own picks. They can't use somebody else's picks as compensation for a free agent that they get.
Yep, have to use your own picks, and it's got to be next year's picks. And the Blues obviously traded that pick to Pittsburgh to move Kevin Hayes in that salary dump, and so they get that pick back, and they swapped a couple other picks. So now they have the proper draft compensation to make these deals.
JR, I might be completely off base here, but I just want to get your reaction to this because I was thinking about this yesterday when I was looking at these moves and the aggressiveness of Doug Armstrong in this approach. Do you think that he's making sure, because as we know, Alexander Steen will be taking over as the GM in 2026, that he's setting things up in this retool where it will be very successful for Steen to be able to take over during that year?
Yeah, I think so. Doug said something, and it's cliche, but it's true. He said something not too long ago where he said he wants to leave this organization in a better place than when he took over. And when he said that, he said right now it's not. Well, I think some people would argue that 10-plus years of success plus a Stanley Cup, it is in much better shape than it was when he took over, regardless of if he were to leave this week. But he wants to get the organization back on top, and you can't do that overnight. He's a guy who always talks about, improving 2%, 3%, making moves that add up and make the difference. And I think that's what he's doing right now. I don't think anybody expected the Blues to make some moves this year that would have made them a Stanley Cup contender next year. He doesn't think that. He doesn't believe that that's the way this is going to get going again. So I think when you look at the collection of the moves they've made, this is a lot of depth. Like, I'm looking at the forward group right now, and if they do get a Holloway, where does he fit and who's bumped out? I mean, you're looking at Kasperi Kapanen, who they just signed, might be press box. Is Sundqvist ready? He gets back in the lineup. What about Bolduc? What about Zach Dean? Young players that they want to play. Where do these guys fit? And same thing, you sign Ryan Suter, and now you could potentially bring in Broberg. Who's out? Torrey Krug, kind of points to him with his situation potentially being out for the year. Maybe they know more about this right now than we do. But it's hard to put together a top 6 and a top 12 right now with a lot of this depth they put in. I think that's what Doug Armstrong's goal was.
All right, let's have a little fun with this and advance the story a couple of years. And you're the Edmonton Oilers, and there's a young guy that the Blues have, and they're trying to sign him. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, what do you think they do to St. Louis? I mean, turnaround is fair play, right?
Yeah, and just in time, Jake Neighbors has 1 year left on his deal, Dan. He's a restricted free agent after this upcoming season. And I talked to Jake Neighbors' agent, or at least traded text with him not too long ago, and he said nothing shaken on that front. I think Jake Neighbors said that too. He said, haven't been any talks, and Jake Neighbors came out and said, I've got to prove it another year. But if he has the type of season this upcoming year that he did last year, Dan, and can piggyback on that, the Blues are going to have to be aggressive, I think, and trying to get that locked down before you get to a situation where the contract expires late next June and then you're in the situation that Edmonton found itself in with Holloway and Broberg. So, we've seen this in the past. We're not trying to dramatize this with that question, Dan. Montreal and Carolina went back and forth and had a match going back and forth with these offer sheets. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially with Jake Neighbors being a Western Canadian Edmonton boy who would look good in that uniform, according to the fans up there. Maybe not the Blues fans, but the Oilers fans sure would like to see that.
All right, to JR, before we let you go, letter by letter, how do you spell shrewd?
Let's go. S. Oh, we got a game going on here. Okay, so let's go SCHREWD. No!
You missed on the. It's SHREWD.
All right. Well, let's check the article in the Athletic today, and I probably have a couple.
All right. Great stuff. Great info as always. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Justice for JR. Come on here.
Yeah.
I knew you were listening.
See you later, brother. Thank you, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues Insider from the Athletic. Pretty funny. SHREWD.
It's about as shrewd as Doug has been.
That's pretty ruthless.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Fun.
Coming up, we want to hear from you. We've already talked about it amongst ourselves, but will you go to see the Doyers this weekend? Even though the Cardinals are average, will you go to see one of the great teams and some of the great players in the history of the sport? That's next on 101 ESPN. Later today, I'm going to make my way over to Mentality in Chesterfield and get my weekly treatment. Mentality can do great things for guys. As you pass your 30th birthday, your testosterone level drops. Well, Mentality is a great local clinic. They've got facilities in both Chesterfield and South County that can get your energy level back by restoring your testosterone level. All you need to do to get started is go to lowtusa.com and set up an appointment and check out at their website what they do for you, because what they do for you is test your testosterone level, and then they have an FDA-approved testosterone treatment that will get you feeling the way you did when you were younger. It really is remarkable what they do. Thousands of St. Louis guys have benefited from the work that they do at Mentality, and you can too. Get started at lowtusa.com, and when you go in, they're going to help with everything that you have to do, and they're going to know that what your insurance company is. They'll work with your insurance company to make sure that your out-of-pocket expenses are as low as possible. It's a great place to get started to get your energy level back. It's Mentality, and you should get started at lowtusa.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday fall to the Reds 4-1. They will try to escape Cincinnati without getting swept tonight with a 5:40 first pitch. Will be Kyle Gibson facing off against a bullpen start for the Cincinnati Reds. Right now, the projected starter will be Emilio Pagan, who sits at 2-3 with a 4.22 ERA this season through 21 1/3 innings pitched. Yesterday in action, St. Louis City SC fell in the round of 16 in the League's Cup to Club America by a score of 4-2. They will now have 10 days off before returning to MLS action on August 24th in Portland. Today is the transfer window deadline day in the MLS, and there's a report right now in The Athletic that St. Louis City has had talks with St. Louisan Josh Sargent. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Didn't the Blues have a goalie named Jeff Sargent?
Sargent for sure.
I think it was Geoff.
Yeah.
Just wondering. Joff Sargent.
Yeah, Joff Sargent.
Andy Pajes and the Doyers coming to town this weekend for a 3-game tilt, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mookie Betts, by the way, is back in right field for the Padres. He's back and playing
Dodgers.
Well. Doyers.
Yeah.
Thank you. He will... Mookie Betts, is hitting second now. Shohei Ohtani was so good as a leadoff hitter. So it's Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman at the top of the Doyers lineup. And, guys, I will go, even if the Cardinals are just average, I will go to see the stars, the galaxy of stars that the Dodgers have. Maybe our last opportunity to see Clayton Kershaw at Busch Stadium on Saturday night. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez is having an amazing year for them. Kike Hernandez is at third. They get Muncy back next week, right, Brooke?
Yes, Muncy and Tommy Edman. So you will not see Tommy Edman, sadly, this weekend. Yeah. Or if you were hoping that it wouldn't happen. It's not happening this weekend. But it looks like Muncy and Tommy Edman will be activated as soon as Monday, both coming back from injuries. Tommy Edman, as we know, has not played this entire season yet.
No, he needs to get more time in the minors. There are very few teams that have the galaxy of stars that the Doyers do. It's L.A. and New York, isn't it? The Yankees? Mm-hmm. And that's about it in terms of having the number of big-time, big-money players that those two franchises have.
I'd go see Bryce Harper. We talked about that earlier. He'd be one. And the Phillies are such a good team. Just watching a good team play and watching their pitching staff, the way that they do things. I love watching Kyle Schwarber, so that'd be another reason I'd go to the ballpark.
And Wheeler, Nola, Suarez.
Exactly.
Yeah, their pitching is great.
There's a lot of young stars, too. Even Bobby Witt Jr., when you were seeing them recently. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's Ellie De La Cruz. We talked about that the other day. Dan, you brought his name up about how exciting a player he is to watch. Now, you don't like when he's so successful against the team that you're rooting for in the Cardinals, but do you go and see this weekend, for example, the Dodgers, just solely because you want to see a good team in that? Well, but is it hard to watch because you know your team is struggling? Let's
micro this a little bit. I will go to see Shohei Ohtani hit. I went to see Shohei Ohtani play for the Angels last year, and he pitched against the Cardinals and hit. And I will go to watch Shohei Ohtani play. I would go individually to watch Mookie Betts play. I think Mookie Betts is fabulous, and he's fantastic. And because as just a baseball fan and appreciating the career that Clayton Kershaw has had, I'm glad I get a chance to see him tomorrow night. He isn't pitching well, might be towards the end of his career, but it's probably the last chance I'll have a chance to get to see him pitch, and he's a left-hander pitching against the Cardinals. So if ever there was a get-well salve for a lefty starter, it's coming to St. Louis.
I'm sure there's a lot of Cardinal fans that are out there saying, I'm staying away from the ballpark because I'm frustrated. The team is 500. And the other thing is they're coming off a road trip in which they're not hitting. We'll see if that changes tonight. But if you went, let's just say 4-1 or 5-0 on this trip, then you'd have a different feel about the club and you might get more fans down there. The one thing we should point out is that the tickets this weekend, Brooke, you were just looking it up. They're extremely affordable, and that's all-inclusive tickets or good seats in terms closer to the field, all those things. And I know the Cardinals are trying to get people to the ballpark. They're promoting the fact that Ohtani is in town. I understand that. And Betts will be in town. I think it's smart. It's a great baseball town, and people like to watch really good baseball, whether it's their team or not. So I think we'll see some fans that say, I'm going down there because I want my kid to see Ohtani play. I want to see him. I want to see Ohtani hit. I'm one of them. I mean, I'm a baseball fan, and I would go down if the Cardinals were 20 games under 500. I'd still go down to watch those guys play.
Do you guys think that the Cardinals should make an effort to get Jordan Walker into the lineup every day as a drawing card? I can be real. They probably can't. They aren't going to win the division. They aren't going to make the playoffs. I want to see Jordan Walker play every day.
Just for development reasons, I would. Yeah. Now, just to go watch him play, I'm not so sure I would.
I just want to see the young. Yeah. I love watching the ascendant player get better and better, and I think he still has a chance to do that.
I kind of thought when they said that he'd be a platoon bat that it would be like what they said with Tommy Pham, where they said that. And I know that Tommy Pham obviously had that grand slam in his first at-bat, and so that had a lot to do with it. But I kind of thought it would be the same situation where you still have him playing every single day, because that's what we talked about, is that he needs to play every single day. That's why you brought him up here, I would assume.
217, we are going to see the Stars. Win or lose, support the Redbirds. I think a lot of people will be like that this weekend. You know, they promoted the fact that Ohtani's coming. Like you always say, Brooke, he's a unicorn. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest player right now in the game because of what he can do. Obviously not pitching, but to even watch him hit, he'll be a 40-40 man this year. He's got 37 stolen bases, and he's going to hit close to 50 home runs. So, yeah, he's amazing to watch at his size, see what he does. I'd go pay a lot of money to go watch that guy play.
Dodgers in town starting Friday. And by the way, the Cardinals do have one more game against Cincinnati tonight, 5:40. And they'll send our buddy Kyle Gibson to the mound against Emilio Pagan.
Expectations. I'm high on looking at Kyle Gibson and understanding the role that he plays as a veteran, that he needs to step up big tonight. And I bet he does, and I bet the Cardinals win this game.
He does, yeah.
Sunshine and lollipops.
There we go.
He needs to be a stopper.
Yep.
It's a 3-game losing streak, and a stopper stops a losing streak.
And he can be a workhorse, and that's what you need from him today. But I go back to offense. You need to do better than what you have. Being outscored 10-2 is just inexcusable. And this is also a chance. When we looked at the division standings earlier, the Reds are really right behind you, knocking on the door right now.
Here's the other thing. 12% of talking about Jordan Walker from a strategic point of view. Mentioned this the other day. The outfield, right-handed batters hardly play. And so give Jordan Walker a run, righties, lefties, see what he can do.
I'm with you. Hey, speaking of the Blues, as we did in our last segment, you can join 101 ESPN for the second annual Blues and Brews on Friday evening, September 20th at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party. It features live music from country music star Matt Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, 101 ESPN giveaways, and more. Tickets just $20. They're on sale now. You can learn more at 101ESPN.com. We've got Cardinal tickets to give away for the Brewers next Tuesday, next on Rocc and Roll here on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for Universal Windows Direct. The heat is here and it will be sticking around for a little while longer, so do not cool off the outside this year. Call my guys over at Universal Windows Direct. I love the summertime, I love the warm weather, but I do not like the energy bill that comes with it. And that's where Universal comes in handy. Their windows feature super spacer technology, which helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and makes your windows last up to 5 times longer than other Windows systems. So your windows from Universal perform better and they last longer. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 for free, plus 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Restrictions apply. Universal Windows Direct backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Mention my name today and get an additional $250 off your next project. So go to UWD.com. That's UWD.com. And like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I want to rock! And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
101 ESPN has your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to next Tuesday night's Budweiser Bash game. Cardinals and Brewers. Next week's Bud Bash game features a limited edition Woody Williams bobblehead. You can get the details on this season's series of Budweiser Bash Cardinal games at cardinals.com/promotions. Text in now, 314-399-9646 if you want to win now. Budweiser Bash tickets for the Cardinals and Brewers, Woody Williams, on Tuesday, August 20th. And if you text in the 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO, maybe you will win, but you have to answer Matthew's question correctly. Matthew, what do you got for us?
We had some questions in the fight today about no-hitters, and Danny Mack correctly stated that on this day in Cardinals history, Bob Gibson did, in fact, throw a no-hitter of his own. What team did he throw it against?
Oh, good question. Whew. Man.
A couple big bats were out of that lineup, too.
Huh. The one that he no-hit?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So they were missing some of their lumber, you're telling me. Okay. Texter number 45. Texter number 45 gets the tickets for next Tuesday night. Woody Williams night at the ballpark. Matthew, what do you got for us on Rock and Roll?
Some people might have heard me mention in my last update that there is a report on The Athletic that St. Louis City is bidding on St. Louis native and current Premier League striker Josh Sargent. I read now from The Athletic. St. Louis SC and FC Cincinnati have shown interest in the 24-year-old who appeared from the bench in 2 of his country's Copa America fixtures this summer. Sargent scored 16 goals for Norwich City in England's second tier last season as they made the promotion playoffs. But he talks about how he's also linked to a Premier League club in Bournemouth. But as Cincinnati's hopes faded, the chances of St. Louis bringing their former academy star back grew in recent weeks. Norwich were prepared to sanction the exit of a player they signed for around $8 million from German club Werder Bremen in 2021 if the fee was in excess of $20 million. An initial bid fell short of Norwich's asking price, though, and while St. Louis retain a strong interest, a breakthrough has not yet been achieved. Also, former Athletic reporter Tom Bogert tweeted about 30 minutes ago. From what I'm told, on United States men's forward Josh Sargent, a bunch of MLS teams have called about him. Nothing is going to happen before tonight's deadline, but it is one to watch for the future. And, of course, it would be expensive.
Well, they got money.
So, yeah, apparently they have gotten close to the $20 million bid, is what I'm seeing from reports, but apparently they have not broken that threshold, and therefore that's why the talks have not found that quote-unquote breakthrough that is alluded to in the Athletic article. And like I said earlier, today is the transfer deadline window closing in the MLS, so I imagine that you need a little bit more than 12 hours to finalize a $20 million deal.
Okay, from a business standpoint, now and long term, does it make any difference at all if SC has a St. Louis player on their roster, a good player on their roster?
I think it does. Yeah, I do. I think you'll get people to follow the team a little bit more and follow a local kid. I do. I think it'd be important.
It worked for the Steamers.
Absolutely.
They were loaded with all St. Louis players, but I agree with that. Just think of all the number 23 David Freese jerseys that you still see over at the ballpark. I think it makes a big difference. You still see Cam Jansen, number 55s around town.
I wonder, too, from the player's perspective, if they want to play in their hometown. They hear the stories about the ticket requests, media requests, being back in your hometown, family requests. I mean, all that stuff becomes, a pressurized situation for players when they come home.
Would have made it tough on a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, right?
Absolutely.
There's no doubt. So, yeah, if you're a really good player playing in your hometown, I think it does take its toll on you.
I remember with Scott Cooper. Mm-hmm. It was tough on him after being an all-star in Boston.
Pat Maroon talked about it.
Yeah.
He talked about how tricky that was for him and it really and honestly stressed him out more than not playing in his hometown. And so I think that could be it. And my thing would be, he would probably be the, like, relative to the rest of the team, would he be like the most talented St. Louisan to play for a St. Louis team? Like, would he be the first St. Louisan to be the face of the franchise?
You talking about Sargent?
Yeah, because like he would be obviously a guy who can score 17 goals in the English Championship and a guy who is a Premier League quality striker. If he gets here at 26 years old, I mean, he's the face of the franchise for the next 5 or 6 years. I can't remember. I mean, obviously, Freese very good. Pat Maroon very, very important players. Not face of the franchise.
No, the closest thing would have been, but he got hurt, was Trent Green.
Yeah,
that definitely would have been the guy.
Yeah.
Do you really think, though, that he would be ready to come over to MLS?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, if he
I'm
would score 17 goals in the championship.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about, like, why would he want to come over to MLS right now?
So one thing within the Tim Ream deal that we talked about on Monday with Chris Kerber is that part of his rationale is that being the MLS actually gives him a better chance of being selected for the World Cup in 2 years or for the United States men's national team. And so maybe Sargent has that rationale as well, and he's thinking if I can get in the United States men's national team at 26, 27, 28 years old, I can really build my international career, and MLS is on the rise, so maybe it all kind of works in there. That could be a factor. I just think that if you are the highest paid player on an MLS team, you're making European level money for the most part. I think that could factor in as well.
If they can't get him, can they still get Mbappe?
I mean, you'd get Mbappe before you'd get him, I think.
Oh, good. Okay, there you go.
Because Mbappe's salary is going to be like $200 million. Salary.
I think the family has $1 billion or more, like $13 billion.
You're just going to auction off their money over
I feel like it's going to eat into it pretty quickly if you got to pay him that much.
Yeah, it adds up here and there, but still, it's worth it. It's money spent is money made.
My brain has really been desensitized to seeing like $50 million a year for a player. That doesn't shock me. But then for some reason, European players' salaries will get listed as per week, and that makes me angry. Like I'll be like, you know what, $50 million a year? That sounds like a pretty reasonable thing. And somebody will be like, this player makes $214,000 a week, and I'm like, okay. Where's my pitchfork? Where's my torch? I'm ready to burn down this entire system. That's too much damn money.
Seems to me like
pitch.
Yeah, that one also makes you mad.
It seems to me that if a player is making $52 million a year, and there are 50 weeks in a year, he's probably making $1 million a week.
Yeah, I was doing the math there, obviously, correctly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
I mean, come on, what the hell?
I know they do have agents and stuff. How much do agents typically take out of that?
2 to 4%, 2.5 to 4.
Yeah, the industry stand. I think the highest you can take on a lot of the deals like that they make like legally you can't take higher than 6%. I think is what it is.
Well, hopefully Josh Sargent winds up here. Yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Great work.
It'd be incredible. People would freak out here.
Yeah.
Well, soccer fans would.
Yeah, that's our producer and audio and video engineer Matthew Rocc. Good job.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Good. You gonna have wings for lunch?
Oh, I don't know if there'll be any left at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
They're so good.
Yeah, thanks to our friends at the Wing Ding last night. Daniel, you were awesome. Dan was powering through this morning.
Absolutely. No problems.
You're a gamer.
Didn't puke.
That's a good thing.
No
over
Hunter
some
Green.
of the things I said.
Yeah, good. Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a wonderful hump day, St. Louis.